Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. We're here with Kelsey Shannon, and we're doing our world famous Two Beards, One Comic. Today we are going to finish Jim Starlin's epic Warlock saga. I know, the word saga I think is thrown out way too much in comic books, but I think it's accurate in this particular instance.
Oh, for sure.
So with two of the best comic books ever made, Marvel 2-in-1 Annual number 2 and Avengers Annual 7. And geez, this is back when annuals meant something.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, well, not only does it further the story, but it feels like the big season finale, like you've just gone through 20 something episodes of a TV show and you're right at the big crescendo moment that ties everything together and maybe sets you on a new path.
Yeah. I mean, is it any wonder I'm a comic book freak when this is what was coming out like in what was the expression, the formative years? Is that it? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had some of this, but I often wonder, like, I mean, I had all this stuff available to me as a kid, but I was more interested in like toys and cartoons and stuff. So, like, I'm sure if someone sat me down to read some of this, I probably would have been all into it because, but I didn't pick it up until the 90s when, it looked great. It's sure some sharp looking stuff, but I don't really recall many of the stories. But I'll probably never forget this one.
Yeah, there's no other comic like it. I know it sounds like I'm sucking up, but Nexus is the only thing that I could compare it to, because Nexus is just a bizarre, strange space opera, also.
Well, yeah, and it's fully formed like this. Like when you read Nexus, you can, any chapter of Nexus, you feel this much bigger world all around it, and that's very much like this. Like even at the very beginning, you just felt, and I guess they were recapping some stories that appeared in various comics here and there, but there wasn't much to build on, but it already felt like a really fully realized world that they were building here. And just brilliant. I love stories like that where it feels like it already existed,
right?
And you're just kind of popping into it someplace.
It's world building at its best because there's nothing that surprises you. There's nothing out of the ordinary. Everything fits within context of the story. Like even the weirdest stuff kind of works. And again, this is all before Star Wars, cantina scene, space. Well,
see, you read it when it was new, but to me, none of this seems weird. And I guess because I've been very predisposed to it at this point. Like I've seen the movies, I've heard about it, I've seen the imagery for years and years and years. So when I was reading through it, it didn't really seem unbelievable. Like it wasn't like, weird is what I'm trying to say. I mean, it felt like, oh yeah. And most of it is like, I wish they'd have done this in the movie, That's mostly my reaction to this.
They kind of took, you said this last time, and I completely agree. They kind of removed the purpose of Adam Warlock. Now he's just another guy in the Guardians rather than this, Christ-like epic Messiah, which is what he was supposed to be. I'm just going to go through and acknowledge the chat.
Yeah, we got a lot of people here. Hello.
We got Zach always comes in with a nice word. Have a blessed day. Good job.
Thank you.
We got Michael Bancroft. If only those beards could talk. Yeah.
What would they tell us? They tell us, please get this food out of me.
I was painting black tar paint at work today. My beard would be like, don't ever do that again.
My beard is saying, what is this, soup? You didn't have soup.
Yeah, eat salad, you fat bastards.
Yeah.
I bought this book, Hidden Hand Media. Wow, this is a new name. Thank you.
Hey, Hidden Hand. I know Hidden Hand.
Oh, okay. All right. I bought this book because of you guys, and holy cow, there's an insane amount of exposition. Yeah. It's that Claremont school of a lot of dialogue on every page. If my comic has a 20th of this dialogue, that's still a lot of words.
But it gets like he gets his flow, like as you go through the book. Like it starts off like, oh God, this is, and then they're repeating stuff a lot because of the recaps.
Right.
But I swear, like about you know, little more than halfway, I guess, it starts to kind of have a rhythm to it that's real easy to read, actually.
Yes.
I found.
If you read the individual, I can only imagine in the trade paperback, it flies by at a pace. You're gonna get Marcus Kelleher already beat us to it. The Beards would say enough with the food.
Yeah.
And then Marcus is kind enough to put up the link to my comic, Heroic Tales. It started picking up in the past couple of days. I was on Reenie's channel Wednesday, and
good deal.
I only meant to talk for an hour, but we talked for like 3 hours, and I got to wake up at 4 a.m. But I was like, all night long. I was like, I didn't feel like going to sleep. A bunch of people checking out the comic finds, so I got to thank everybody. I'm in that middle period, the lulls, so it was nice to have a couple of sales.
I know we're already talking about going into another series of this, but I would honestly love, and I know she's really busy, but it would be really fun to see Reenie come to this channel and do this show. Like,
you have to wear a beard.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, just the idea of like, because she's probably not read a lot of this stuff either.
I referenced that
classic.
And she was saying that too, that she wants to read more of these old comics, and she was asking, so that would be kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like. I know everybody's very busy and probably don't have time to do these kinds of shows, but man, that would be so fun to see other people come on and explore these, like Bancroft, for instance. Bancroft, again, super busy, but I know for a fact Bancroft, there's a lot of this stuff that he hasn't read, like me. So,
well, I think Australia just got the written word a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. Congratulations. Yeah. You're going to love it.
And, Marcus Kilgrew put up Nexus Scourge. That's written by Mike Barron, drawn by Kelsey Shannon. If you like this, what we're doing tonight, I said this a couple of times. The only comic that I can compare this to is Nexus. Somewhere there's a tavern in space with Jim Starlins Warlock, Kelsey Shannon, and Mike Barron's, and Steve Root originally's Nexus. And then I'm going to say the original Star-Lord, not the movie Star-Lord, but the original Marvel preview Star-Lord. Mm-hmm. He fit in.
He's hanging out there. Yeah,
not the goofy one from the movies, but the serious, I'm going to murder people to become a superhero version of
that devil alien in the cantina that doesn't belong in Star Wars, but he does belong in Warlock's.
You're right.
Cantina.
Isn't that creepy? That also, even as a kid, I was just like, ooh. Michael Bancroft is here. Yep, the arc was strange. I loved it. Yeah, Michael, did you read it because of this, or did you know it already? And I know Marcus knows these comics because I've.
Oh yeah.
Especially Brian K. Vaughn's.
Brian, I know some of Vaughn's work. He did Why the Last Man, right?
Yeah, he did Why the Last Man. He did Lucifer, and now he's doing Saga. Right. You know what?
I met him in San Diego once.
This kind of fits in with Saga. I never thought of that. I never made that
Saga. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because Saga to me is just like it's just like, I don't know, just as weird as this. It kind of reminds me of like Mobius or something. But yeah, good call, Derail. I never put that connection together.
That's interesting. I've never read any of his stuff actually. So.
I really liked Why the Last Man, and I really liked his Lucifer series. Saga to me is a little self-indulgent, and then I think issue 53, I have a letter in that published, and people pile on me. I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, really?
But people, I said the wrong thing.
Oh, well, he's earned it. He's earned a little self-indulgence. Guys work pretty hard.
But Brian K. Vaughan is a real cool guy because he wrote a 4-issue series called Petrifax, which was a spinoff of Lucifer. And I was reading that comic in college, and a girl asked me about it, and if my wife's listening, it worked. Let's just say reading it worked. I'll leave it at that.
That's like what's the one with death? The Neil Gaiman one.
The High Cost of Living.
Yeah, if you want those goth chicks, you could probably get you some of those books, right?
Yeah, and just I'm proving my Neil Gaiman cred right over here. Here's the hell prop.
I never read any of that. I read a little bit of Preacher, though. That's
Preacher is excellent. The TV show infuriates me because they take all the worst, obvious stuff of Preacher and leave out all the subtle, intelligent stuff of Preacher. Preacher has one of the greatest endings of all time.
Oh, well, don't spoilers. Maybe that'll be another one we got to read because I haven't
it's
read
obvious.
it all.
And when you get to the last issue and you read it, you go, "Yeah, I should have guessed it." But that's what makes it so good. We got Phil Ailing, another new name. Hey, good to see you.
Hello,
Pablo Romero art. Yep,
Pablo.
Yeah, I know Pablo's art.
Yeah, nice. If that's
big reasons to really enjoy his art. Oh, my friend Jimmy! Holy moly! This is one of my childhood friends. This is the first time I've seen Jimmy. Jimmy, I got a comic book that you didn't buy yet, Jimmy.
And he's keeping track.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're not my will. All my nieces and nephews who did buy my comic, you're not my will. I back both books. Yeah. Marcus, don't hurt yourself. You know what I mean? Life gets in the way. We understand.
Oh, yeah. Especially these days. Oh, my God.
I'm shocked that my friend Jimmy and I were childhood friends. We met working at a supermarket together. I introduced him to his wife. You know, it goes way back. So that just put me in a good mood that Jimmy's here. All right. So let's check out. Oh,
I hope he doesn't mind you nerding out. Does he know this side of you that you're a comic book nerd?
Yeah. The funny story about Jimmy, and I think I told this to Rini on Wednesday, was I was really into Dungeons and Dragons, and I kept trying to get Jimmy to play, and he was not interested in playing. Jimmy's a cool guy. You know, he was picking up chicks, stuff like that. I was picking up cheeseburgers and comic books. And so he went up to his summer house, and a guy near Jimmy was like, "Hey, you want to play Dungeons and Dragons?" And they were like, "Yeah, at night there's nothing to do. This is before electronics and everything like." So he's like, "Yeah, sure. My friend John's always trying to get me into it. That'll be cool." So he did the worst possible thing in the world, is he gave Jimmy a stack of books, you know, and he was like, "Here, read these, and we'll play tomorrow." And Jimmy's like, "You giving me homework?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the next day he returned him without reading a damn thing. It was just like, "I'm done." It's funny because I'm glad that happened, because I tended to do that too. So now I've been teaching Dungeons and Dragons and Villains and Vigilantes role-playing games now for 40 years. You know,
I got into it pretty easy. I had a friend of mine got me into Shadowrun.
Oh, yeah.
We played that and played a little bit of D&D, a little bit of Star Wars and GURPS and various things. And I just picked it up as we went.
Right, because a good GM doesn't overwhelm you with rules. They just give you enough, like I call it the drip method. We start playing, I give you enough information to get the bare bones started, to make up a character. And then when it presents itself, I go, "Here's the rule how you do this. This is the rule how you do it." And nobody has to memorize anything. I memorize anything. I'm the freak.
Well, I'd like tell him what he's like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "I want to do this." And he's like, "All right, roll for it." And I'd roll, and he'd look at it and go, "What's your whatever, your strength?" And and he's like, "All right, you just whiffed it, you just sliced."
Yeah, give him enough information. Because I feel like if you're rolling the dice and you don't know whether you're supposed to roll high or low, or you know what I mean, you just roll. It's like hitting a random number generator, and it means nothing to you. So
yeah, it's actually pretty easy. You pick it up, but yeah, I mean, it's more about the immersion in the story, and then that's just this random chance kind of thing that throws a loophole. Yeah, John's a nerd. Get out of here.
I got a whole bookshelf full of role-playing games. I got, All right. So
he is an expert. That's true.
This comic, I think I told this story before, but I was a little kid in 1977, so I was born in 68, so I was 9 years old, and I forget where we were going, but we stopped in the 7-Eleven because my mom needed cigarettes, Kent Kings. They were $1.75 at the time. I remember this. We walked into the 7-Eleven, and this was on the spinner rack. And I don't know my body language, my facial expressions. I don't know, because I still can't play poker. I got no poker face. So I definitely, like, it just washed over me how important this was. And I was like, "Mom, can I get this?" And it's funny because it was 60 cents. Normally, when we bought a comic, my mom would $2 buy a pack of cigarettes, $1.75. She would have a quarter. And that quarter she would give to me, and I could buy a comic or wait for the next time she would smoke. I'd have two quarters. But this was 60 cents. This was above the change, and she still bought it for me. Now, part of me thinks it must have been a long trip, and she'd know I'd shut up and leave her alone. Part of me thinks she saw my face and knew this kid had to have this. But
I think it was more like you were down on the ground like Homer spinning, going.
Yeah. I was at that that little kid, that like meltdown stage. If I don't
Yeah.
get this, I'm going crazy.
Yeah. If you
But
know what's good for you, you'll break
look at
out
this
2 more
cover.
quarters, lady.
We got Thanos is going to smash Spider-Man. He's going to smash the Thing with Spider-Man. As we got this sinister face in the gem over here. Keep in mind, the Infinity Stones were mentioned already. I was wrong about that. I thought the Infinity Stones weren't mentioned, but they were hinted at in the issue right before this.
See,
And
wait a minute. I don't have that cover.
Oh,
Let me see.
Oh,
Well, okay, that cover. Okay, so Avengers 7,
I'm also
King Size Annual comes first in this trade. Then this one.
Oh, am I doing them out of order?
I think it might be either that or the trade did.
Well, let me look at the last panel. I don't want to spoil the last panel. Oh yes. Okay, so this is first.
Okay.
This I bought in Howie's, but I bought this. I got this after this, so I read them out of order. This was the first.
That's why.
Warlock,
Okay.
and then I got this to fill in, and like I was saying back then, guys, I'm probably the oldest one. Marcus and I are the two oldest one, and I'm sure Marcus can back me up. This is when annuals mattered. You couldn't wait to get an annual, and this was before the internet. You didn't know when they were going. They just showed up. Most of the time they were in the summer, but sometimes they just showed up. You know, let's look. What is this? Does it even tell us? It just says 1977 issue.
Yeah, it doesn't say what month.
Oh, November. It says November. So
okay.
It means it came out in the summer.
When did Star Wars hit the theaters?
May 4th, right?
May. Okay. Interesting. So that was just a little before this, huh?
Yeah. So this is, but keep in mind the whole story was going on already for
right.
So this, just look at this cover. Like he says, like Marcus says in the chat, Starlin and Joe Rubenstein. So Starlin is doing the art, Joe Rubenstein is doing the inks. And also keep in mind, these are my actual copies that I got in 1977. Even as a kid, I was like meticulous. I didn't have bags and boards or anything back then. I just, was careful. And oh man, I'm excited about this. So are we ready to open this up? Check it out.
Yeah. I was just looking at this cover. Joe Rubenstein does make a really good. Is that who inked this? The cover?
Yes.
Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna have to bring it.
Yeah, finishes Joe Rubenstein. I kind of like Rubenstein on his stuff.
I could never pronounce. Letters by Tom Orzechowski, coloring by Petra Goldberg. Petra Goldberg is one of the mainstays at Marvel as far as coloring. It seems like a lot of colors for women back then. Archie Goodwin is the editor. So now, what are we on? Like the 4th editor, and other manual labor. Jim Starlin, meaning he wrote it and did the layouts.
So humble, yeah. Other manual labor. So yeah, the last editor was Wolfman, Marv Wolfman, I think.
Yeah.
Or let's see, was that the last one? Yeah. Anyway, there's been through a lot of editors.
Yeah, this Marv. This in the Jim Shooter years, there's a lot of chaos.
Archie Goodwin was the last one too. Okay, yeah. He uses them up, man. He's he definitely is. He must put them through their paces.
So we got the Avengers Assemble again. Beast. I was a dumb kid at the time. I didn't know that there was. I think at this point I didn't even know there were the X-Men. The comic wasn't selling that well, and it was bi-monthly, so it was a hard comic to find. So I didn't know that Hank McCoy was actually in the X-Men. Captain America, we got Iron Man, we got Moondragon.
Beast, that's true. What is Beast doing with the Avengers? They don't really explain it, do they? I didn't even think about that. I was just like, "Oh, it's Beast." I don't think I ever thought that. Like, why is he hanging out with the Avengers?
Well, he joined the Avengers somewhere around 150.
Okay, is that before he was in the X-Men?
After. The X-Men was canceled around 66, but for some reason they kept publishing it as reprints. And then from 66 to 93, it was bi-monthly and reprints of earlier X-Men. And then they brought back the Avengers, Giant Size Avengers, Dave Cockrum, Len Wein with the X-Men, Wolverine and Nightcrawler and all those guys that we all know and love. And the only one who wasn't captured on Krakatoa was Beast because he was in the Avengers. Continuity meant something back then at Marvel. And again, he was best friends with Simon Williams, Wonder Man, and he wasn't moping around and he was hitting on chicks. He was the original furry. The legend has it that somebody said to a female working at Marvel, wouldn't it be gross to date Hank McCoy as the Beast? And she went, no way, he's like a big puppy dog, he's the cute. And then all the other girl colorists were like, yeah, I would love to date the Beast. So that just made him happy-go-lucky ladies.
I mean, look at that hit show from the 80s, Beauty and the Beast, with Ron Perlman as the Beast. And man, all the ladies loved that show.
Right. All the girls thought the Beast was sexier than Ron Perlman.
So furrydom has been around for a long time. The ladies, they started it. It was the ladies.
Hank McCoy was the original furry.
Yeah, that's so funny because that's how he's introduced in this book. He immediately started. Well, we'll get to it. It's a pretty funny line, actually.
We got Moondragon over here. Moondragon, for those of you who may not know, is the daughter of Drax the Destroyer.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, Arthur Douglas and Heather Douglas and the unnamed wife were driving down the street when I forget who crashed. I think a deviant caused them to crash. It's been retconned so many times. And then the Eternals of Titan rescued them, brought them back. The wife was dead. There was nothing they could do about it. Even the Eternals can't resurrect the dead. Okay. Heather Douglas was rescued and then trained and unlocked her potential because she got psychic powers. She goes bald because that's the way it was back then. And Arthur Douglas, they rebuilt. He was slightly alive, his brain damage, and he became Drax.
She looks like Ilea from Star Trek, the motion picture, which I like. So
that must have been out at this time because,
maybe it came out after Star Wars. That was like a big thing that got Star Trek back in the thing.
Okay.
Hey, Marcus said the cover was inked by Starlin, so that's probably why I was liking that. I really like the way the cover looks a lot. He inks himself really well.
Oh, Starlin inked the cover. Yeah, okay, yeah. I trust Marcus. He's always corrected me. He joined the So the Beast joined the Avengers in 137 after a reprint with the Beast in 136. Yeah, and the Beast was human, and then he was in Astonishing Tales. Astonishing Tales 15 is when Hank McCoy experimented with the secondary mutations of and then became the furry Beast. And he was supposed to be black. His fur, he was supposed to be like a Black Panther type creature, but the early printing just made him look like you couldn't see the details on him and everything. So they, the blue was like a stand-in. That's why Superman had the blue hair and everything.
Blue is black. Yeah, the blue. Yeah. It's funny because when I'm coloring comics, I'll put in like a gray or like a dark brown, and it just doesn't look right. I'll pop in a blue for black hair. Because it just represents the highlights.
Yeah,
it looks right for some reason. So still to this day, it just looks right for comics. I guess the blue as black.
Here we got the Scarlet Witch, Thor, the Vision, and special guest star Captain Marvel. So this is like all of Jim Starlin's creations. And Jim Starlin created Thanos and Drax the Destroyer too. That what was that? Iron Man 55. And here we go. So let's.
So this is this is kind of neat because this recap is not like the other recaps. Like it doesn't recap the whole story, but it does kind of like it. I don't know. It seems real loose, and it's mostly like.
Dark? Let me turn up the light a little bit.
It is really dark, but I think it's the printing on that too.
My room, I turn up the light because it just makes me look bolder than I am.
Well, I mean, look how dark. I'll never remember her damn name.
Gamora,
yeah. Who's looking quite sexy as she's dying, left there to die.
So Gamora is left there to die. And keep in mind, Gamora is she's basically a honey trap. She'll come and sex you up and then kill you. So she's like a deadly, sexy, she's named after sex you up. I mean, she's just.
Hey, what a way to go! I can handle that.
Yeah, Gamora. She's like a Black Widow. I always like this picture. For some reason, it always reminded me of Patti Smith.
Oh, maybe he referenced her.
And I always thought like she looks like a mix between Cher and Patti Smith. But I just love this. Joe Rubenstein really is an inker who doesn't get enough credit.
Well, Rubenstein, isn't he the guy that inked Michael Golden on Micronauts? Was that Rubenstein?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's got a good. I like the way he's doing this here is really good too. Like he's getting the lighting and all that.
Oh, look at this panel! I forgot how
it's
good.
It's like messy without being messy. You know.
So what happened is Gamora is dying, and she's holding out, waiting for the love of her life. Now remember, in the comic books, she loves Adam Warlock. In the movie, she loves Star-Lord. But maybe they're setting her up for Adam Warlock because in the movies she's an alternate version. I hate all that stuff, but whatever. So here she is dying.
They got their own. They got their own storyline now. So,
and look at this panel.
That's such a great panel, man.
Yeah. So what he's doing, he's unleashing the power of the soul gem. She's dying. He's basically slurping up her soul.
He's absorbing her. Yeah.
So she lives on inside this infinite universe within the soul gem right there.
I love that reverse silhouette where the sky is all black, but the ground and him are like, open. They made him blue, but
yeah, but you know what? You ever go outside in the backyard or whatever under a full moon, and it kind of makes that like
sometimes your eyes adjust to that.
Yeah, it kind of makes like a weird, almost like luminescent shadow. That's what it reminds me of. Just so good.
Yeah.
And this, I got to tell you, I don't know how many times I put tracing paper on this panel, and I can actually feel the indents.
That's a T-shirt right there. I mean, that's a great image.
Read this.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. So cool.
Yeah, but
Warlock, just with that costume that can only be designed in the 70s, the big collar, the gold and red. I just love it. Yeah. And here he goes, just flying away.
But I love that he's like, for I am the savior, the God Slayer, the demon, the avenging hand of light, Adam Warlock. And then he flies off. I mean, he's so dramatic.
Yeah. Him and the Silver Surfer should just drink and
tell great stories.
Existential angst together,
All right. So what are our ads? What are our first group of ads here?
We got our first group. This one drove me nuts because it was obviously a ripoff of Thor that they just changed and stole for the Robert Bell Hop. Oh wow, Hop-On. I'm right near there, and I never went. I keep talking about how difficult it was to get back issues, and every back issue was like right next door to where John lived, and too stupid to ever look them up. We got Karate.
What about our bag of money? Is that in here or is that later? That might be later.
I don't think the bag of money's over here.
Oh, okay.
Cartoons, poems set to music. We got a high school diploma and a ring, so you could just tell people, you could just lie to people, get a fake one.
Is that before the GED was a thing? I mean, or just if you don't even have the energy to do that, just fake it.
Just get a fake piece of paper. Get here's a ring to impress that all you friends. I graduated.
Why not just do college ring? Hell, let's just go to the top.
Yeah. Get a skull and bones ring. If you're gonna lie, here's my Mason ring, here's my skull and bones ring, and all the other secret societies.
Yeah.
Here we got super prizes over here for what is this? For selling something, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, sell more of our crap, and we'll give you some crap.
Sell crap. Yeah, Adam Warlock, drama farmer. Yeah, he invented it. Trash cash with Adam Warlock. And then I don't know about you, but this page kind of reminds me of George Perez.
It does. It really does. It's that flat angle with the multiple levels, I think.
And then the buildings, because except for one issue, Adam Warlock's been in space. You know what I mean? So seeing buildings. And then I think it's the Joe Rubenstein, because Rubenstein did a lot of the inking on the Avengers at this point. So I guess that's the connective tissue. But I love this. Iron Man is just brooding in the rain. Thor is just hanging. I love how they're off duty. They're in the house, but they're all got their masks on.
Yeah, they're hanging out in full costume. And, they're like, casually talking like, oh, he hasn't moved in like 3 hours.
Yeah. Iron Man's just been sitting there for 3 hours staring out the window. I've never seen him so grim, so distant, so troubled. And at this point, the Vision, like, I don't know about modern comic, but he's supposed to have like an emotionless robotic voice. That's why I love he has his own word balloons. You know, the square,
Yeah,
the yellow,
square. Yeah.
and differentiate them.
But I love this bit when they get down to and
The
even
beast.
Cap is still, he's like, and then what happened, you know? And Beast is like, she asked if I'd come up to her place and get my hair curled. And I
Yeah.
was thinking, you dog, you know? That's
If you notice, he's got a bottle of champagne in his foot and a martini
yeah.
glass up there. So this is the Hank Pym that I love. I mean, the Hank McCoy that I love. Just a
McCoy,
ladies'
yeah.
man. He's fun. You know, he's not stupid. But I didn't know he was a scientist until later. The Ultron issue, he actually started doing like the science jargon. But right now, it's just like I've been up all night drinking and partying with chicks, and he's telling such a interesting sex story that Captain America's like, yeah, really? What else happened? and Thor is just like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Thor could probably tell a story or two.
Pablo Romero Art says hanging out in full costume saved them time, I guess. And then Marcus says, Andy says full costumes is the way it ought to be.
Yeah. I remember it. It was the George Perez, Joe Sinnott Fantastic Fours were the first time you started seeing like Johnny Storm with his shirt untucked, you know, and then John Byrne would do all that stuff. And I thought it was like pretty clever, you know, Ben Grimm, you know, in a bathrobe, smoking a cigar, reading a comic book.
It was pretty normal by the time I got into it, and I loved seeing them hanging out. You know, like we see them in action all the time, but like when Claremont was doing it, it was always like baseball or basketball or something. The group would be hanging out in like their shorts or by the pool.
Yeah.
And man, I always love that stuff. I'm like, oh, it's like they're real people.
I always love too, like, you know, oh my God, that house is on fire. Let me go put on my armor.
Yeah.
Like how long does it take to actually change into a superhero costume? You know what I mean? Like,
well, in the case of like Iron Man, like in the movies, they solved that really simply.
Yeah.
Where I love the first one where it was like a briefcase that would like he would step into and it would just form around him. I didn't like it as much when they went to that nanotechnology, but
yeah,
still pretty cool.
Yeah, he might as well be a wizard at this point.
Yeah,
and Scarlet Witch, she's supposed to be like 21 years old, but that's like a 35-year-old woman's face.
Hey, it's not the years, it's the mileage. She's been through a lot of battle, a lot of trauma.
I would, you know, the psychological makeup of a lot of these Marvel characters is fascinating. That Wanda always falls for like a cold, distant man. And then you find out her father was Magneto. That was brilliant.
Oh,
you know,
that's
Scott
right.
Summers always falling for a telepath because he's such a tightwad. You know, not tightwad, but he's wound up so tight because of his powers that he can only open up to people who could read his mind. You know,
was she brothers with Quicksilver in the comics?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
so that's pretty funny. She's like trying to get.
I'll just show in the cover because William F. This is Avengers Annual number 7.
Yeah.
Don't want you to be lost.
But she's like trying to go Vision. It's like, you know, you're the guy. Go ask him. See if he's okay. You know, Iron Man's been standing there forever, brooding.
Go get involved in something that's not your business.
Exactly.
I don't want to.
Well, he even knows it. He's like, he blames it on her. He's like, excuse me, Avenger. Yeah, I don't mean to intrude on restricted territory, yet my wife and I have...
that was guide talk for I have to do this.
Yeah, he's yeah, and he knows what's up. Been wondering what's eating at me, right? Yeah.
And then does yours have this color mistake? Iron Man's helmet is covered full yellow.
No, mine's probably can't see it my camera, but wherever it's at, it's red.
Pull that up. Yeah. Look at the color difference in general.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see. Where is it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna make yours big for a second. There you go.
Yeah, you can see it's pretty sharp. They fixed it.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Just look at the color in general. Now I'm gonna put this back to normal. I don't know. We talked about this earlier, but this old newsprint colors is just, I don't know. I just like it so much better.
Yeah. I mean, I like, where am I? There you go.
Oh, we just saw your nose hair for a second.
Yeah. Oh.
Iron Man, I just arrived. Ever since it's been that way ever since I arrived tonight. I have this inexplicable feeling of danger, of forces at play. I don't want to be here, but I can't bring myself to leave.
I love this moment. This whole moment, you could feel like the impending doom of it. It's the foreshadowing of something coming.
Thunder and lightning.
Well, they kind of do this in the movie when the first couple of baddies show up. That big dude with the hammer, and it's Tony Stark, and they're in they're in Doctor Strange's house, whatever that was called, Sanctum Sanctorum. And the wind starts picking up, and they can like sense something coming. And when I read this, I was like, oh, that's kind of like that scene. There's like a foreboding building, and I love that he could just feel the energy coming his way. Something's up. I don't know. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. You are meant to be here, Captain Marvel, and our sometimes Avenger, Moondragon. Like, that's the awkward talk that comics are so famous.
What brings you here?
The same siren call of fate that summoned you. I love they're just dripping wet as they come in the window. Moondragon.
But I love that he's already known. He's like, yeah, we're all feeling something's up.
Right, something's going on.
Yeah.
I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you, World of Comics. Coloring mistakes are neat little history tidbits. Yeah. They that's the kind of stuff that's fixed in the new editions. How's your campaign doing?
Oh, it's doing, which one? It's doing good. Both good. No complaints.
And then we got,
it could always do better though, if that's what you're looking for. Yeah.
Thanks for asking about mine.
Yeah. Oh no, yours is doing great. That's why, I'm
just busting chops. So I love Moondragon. Just like insolence. Look at that face. She's just like, I don't know what it is, man, but Moondragon, Captain Marvel, Drax, and Jim Starlin. Those were like my characters because when we were kids, everybody had their favorite characters, and nobody claimed them, so I claimed them, and like I became like protective of them. So part of me is so happy that Moondragon hasn't been in the Marvel movies yet because she's but I don't know. She's trouble. She's bad, and I would have dated her in college. Let's be honest.
I don't know anything about her. It's just pretty new to me.
She was raised on Titan after they rescued Arthur and Heather Douglas. They rebuilt Drax to become like basically like an enforcer, and Heather, she didn't have any powers or anything like that. She was the only human raised on a world of gods, and she had this inferiority complex. And they trained her. She's like super martial artist, and then they taught her to unlock her psionic abilities. So just think of like Jean Grey and Shang-Chi mixed together. And then supposedly there's a prophecy of the Moondragon will come and destroy the Titan. So she picked the name Moondragon. She basically picked the name Satan. You know what I mean? Just like the most evil thing that in their mythology, she named herself after. Because she's just like the best, like borderline personality disorder. You know what I mean? She's just trouble. She takes everything the wrong way. She's arrogant. She's sociopathic, but narcissistic.
I like the way she describes the Avengers here, because she's like a horror that comes this way, a horror that can be stopped only by a gathering of eagles.
Yes.
I thought that was a really great way to kind of describe their little gathering, like the Fellowship of the Ring, that kind of thing. A gathering of eagles.
4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. And I love this classic lineup. We got Vision, Iron Man, Moondragon, Captain Marvel, Captain America, Scarlet Witch.
I always love these little headshots. I mean, those are the whole team.
And then we cut away to what's Thanos up to? Well, Thanos, just so you might know, Thanos has perfected the ability to destroy a star. So he's got this big TIE fighter looking ship, which is colossal. It's not like a small one. This is a colossal spaceship. He fires something into the star and causes it to go nova. Boom!
I mean, it almost makes me wish they didn't do the star thief beforehand, because it's a little underwhelming that has the ability to blow up one star when the star thief was stealing like whole galaxies worth, right? In like the issue before. Yeah. Well, good job, Thanos. You're getting there. You're going to get there.
And then Moondragon, it has begun. You know,
that is right out of freaking Star Trek. That looks like a shot out of it even, but I know this came out. This had to have come out before Star Trek the motion picture.
Marcus, when did Star Trek the motion picture come out? Because Star Wars came out 77, and
it came out shortly after, but I would imagine like a couple years even, 78, 79.
78, 79, I think, yeah.
But I don't know.
I agree with you. What was her name, that woman? But Pripyat, something like that. But she was beautiful. She was like a world-class like beauty contestant winner, and then she shaved her head for the role. How brave,
Oh, she was great.
And she still looked great. And she still looked great bald.
My celibacy is on record. Yeah, I love that movie. I don't know what everybody's problem is.
So we got my comic book, Heroic Tales. Like I said, I was on our Reni's channel Wednesday. We're having a bump. Scourge.
Good.
Scourge. I backed this, I think, on day one. So
all done. It's going to be coming out as soon as they finish the.
There was a fun issue where the Thing spanks Moondragon because she's just
oh yeah.
Statistical. Just want to pop in and say hello. How you doing, Statistical?
Hello.
And Matt Powers here. Hey Matt, how you doing? Good to see you.
Hello.
Matt has a page in my comic.
Oh, nice.
Just he's so good. It's so funny.
79. See,
79.
I knew it. Okay, so that wasn't a panel right out of, but it looks right out. It looks like a shot from the movie that he referenced.
I'm going to show off how pretentious I am. I don't know if you know Fabrizio Aiello. He does a Horace H. Hoover. We were joking about which one of us is more pretentious. So we're going to have a pretentious stream where we just brag about ourselves to see who's more pretentious. But this will start it off. My favorite Star Trek movie is the first movie, Star Trek the Motion Picture, because it was the only movie that was like an episode of the original Star Trek.
I don't know if that was pretentious necessarily, because like I was, for me, that's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, next to Khan. Khan is like hard to deny. That's kind of a given. It's a great film. But the motion picture, when I was a kid, before VHS, I had Beta. And we only had like 5 Beta tapes. We had Smokey and the Bandit, Animal House, Urban Cowboy. I forget what the other one was. And then we had Star Trek the Motion Picture. And I watched that back to back. I mean, it never stopped playing in my house. So
I love the scene with Bones. He won't be beamed anymore. He's like, I'm taking his shuttle over.
Looking like a disco stew.
Yeah. He's got the swinger medal. He just left an orgy to come to the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
I was hanging with Hef. What's so important?
Yeah.
I love this Captain Marvel costume. This is one of my favorite costumes of all time. And again, to pat myself on the back, but a lot of people Wednesday at Rini were saying that they really liked the Patriarch's design, and I was like, to me, there's got to be 3 things for a superhero: simple and elegant costume, the name has to be a focus of everything, and a symbol. You know what I mean?
And it ain't easy. To do an original and unique looking, simplified, traditional superhero costume, because there's only so many designs you can throw on there. But you can still do it. I still see people coming out with an original one. I mean, I think you did a great job with the Patriarch. So
thank you. I sent Renzo the scripts for issue number 2, and one of them has like a roll call with a whole bunch of superheroes. So I had to draw, and one of them I'm just like, this is the Patriarch costume with different colors. You know what I mean? It is harder than you think to design costume. And we got the Beast over here. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. It's been so long since I read this. But the Beast is over here playing cards. He's just like, doom schmoom. I'm playing cards. You guys are all talking about the psychic bull and everything like that. And then he sees Adam Warlock. And what does Thor do? Him, or thus that call themselves last we fought. So here he is. Thor's recalling 10 years ago in real time, in like 1966.
Which is literally before this entire story that we've just been covering.
Right.
So what a flashback.
Those of you who are watching this for the first time, his first appearance, I think, was Fantastic Four 66 or 65. I'm not sure. He was created by a conclave called the Conclave to create a scientific deity that they could worship. They were making a scientific supreme being. He comes out of the cocoon, kills everybody, goes nuts, fights the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four kill him. He forms this cocoon, floats in space, comes out of the cocoon, sees Sif, and he wants some of that sweet, sweet Sif action. Thor doesn't have it. Thor beats him to death, and then he's kind of forgotten about until Jim Starlin basically recreates him. But that's one of Adam Warlock's powers. When you kill him, he creates a cocoon and comes back. See,
I love how he just shows up though. Like they're all gathering together because they know something bad's about to happen. And then like while he's flipping cards, he just like shows up and Beast just he shoots his cards everywhere. Ah!
Yeah, he just shows up and they're like, we must team up. I love this panel. We must team up against Thanos and that glorious, sexy 1970s hair. You know,
yeah, I mean, it's a lot better than the Magus, you know,
the Art Garfunkel, evil Art Garfunkel. And now he's explaining who Thanos is, which is a nice recap.
You see, that's the thing. This is what I was getting at. The way they do the recap in this, it's not like the others where they have like 2 pages, 1 page. They got to cram it all in there in some unique way. This is like, it's so natural, the flow of it, you know. And it's just part of the story, and it doesn't feel like they're just dumping a whole lot of info on you, which they are. But
but they're doing it cleverly. Mark, Gil Kane designed Captain Marvel's costume. I didn't know that. Oh, hey, it's Matthew again, Matthew Moreau. How you doing? It's also easy on the artist if that's one of the things I said that back when Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko and all these guys were pumping out 3 issues a month. They didn't have time to put in all the lines and details and shoelaces on Captain America's boots. So comic books kind of got like a shorthand of the least amount of lines possible. But to me, that's what superhero costumes is supposed to look like. You know, the whole big pockets and super detailed stuff kind of looks, I don't know, I was going to say nice, but I don't like the big pockets. But I don't know. For my superheroes, they're going to have simple and elegant costumes. So you're saying Jack of Hearts? Yeah, I know. Jack of Hearts has got to be the most difficult superhero costume to draw.
I remember that one.
Marvel and Animal. Oh, I didn't know that.
So there was a beat somewhere early on where they show Captain Marvel all old, shattering the cosmic cube, and I asked you, I was like, why does he look like that? Because you told me, and then they tell you here now. They tell you because they're showing old Captain Marvel. Yeah.
Thanos aged everybody.
Yeah.
So here we got this wonderful story. You know, we got Mentor. That's Thanos' father. Mentor is brother to Zuros of the Eternals. That they split off the. I don't think that's in this, but that got added in later because Jack Kirby's Eternals got folded into this. Thanos, he's Thanos is the Greek god of death. Eros is Cupid, the Greek god of love. So we got love and death. And then he's in love with death, and then Thanos goes around like nuking other planets. He just gets more and more efficient at killing. He gets an army. He develops these like cosmic powers, and then eventually he gets the cosmic cube, which to me, in the comics, the cosmic cube was the equivalent of the Infinity Stones. In the movie, it was just one of the Infinity Stones, but the cosmic cube is like this.
Where does it come from? That's what I was going to ask you. Like, what is there? What's the story behind the cosmic cube? Because I don't. Did it kind of
slipped to Marcus. Where did the cosmic cube first debut? They later on said that within the cosmic cube are the Beyonders. That from Secret Wars.
Right. Okay. Well,
cosmic cube who gained like sentience rather than. Whatever.
So we're going to find out all about that when we read Secret Wars. So
yeah, and here we got Marvel bulletins.
Oh yeah, and the Hostess ad. They're my favorite.
Yeah, but just look at all of this. We got this great, incredible Hulk annual. We got this Captain Marvel and this Thor. I think this is the Thor where he fought the Aztec gods. Guys, I cannot stress how cool and fun these Marvel annuals were. They weren't tied in events that connected stupid stories that you forced. These were like you said, this was the epic conclusion to a major story that they needed a big comic to tell such a big story. No filler, everything was great. Yeah,
I got the feeling like when I was a kid, the annual just would come out every year, and it wasn't really tied to anything. It generally would have multiple stories. It was almost like they turned annuals into the Marvel Comics Presents, where there's just a couple different storylines that
some of them were people trying out. They were sometimes
right.
like Toy Story, and then like filler pages of like posters and stuff. But at this point in the 70s, these annuals were something else.
It was the big event. Yeah, that's great.
You wanted to get them. You couldn't wait. And then if you found out you missed an annual, like I did a few times, you were like, oh my God. I'll say, because annual number 10 is Mike Golden drawing the Avengers, and it's the first appearance of Rogue.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, that's such a good book. I actually have that. I got a couple copies actually. I love that.
See
annual.
A statistical zero. AIM created the Cosmic Cube. Okay, here we go. AIM created the Cosmic Cube as a weapon in Tales to Astonish 79. That's why I didn't know it. Tales to Astonish 79 is the comic that I'm missing the most issues. So I got a bunch of them, but I think I'm missing a good chunk. And hail the beards. I think that would be fun if we get Rini and she wears a fake beard. That would be so freaking
She
fun.
has one. She's appeared. I think she showed up on Graybeards, and she has the beard.
That would be fun. And I love this, like you said, these hostess ads, the legal eagle. It's like the vulture, but he's not the vulture. He's the harpy. He's the legal eagle, legally distinct. And he defeats him with cupcakes because Spider-Man is a true hero. Even Spider-Man wouldn't inflict fruit pies on people.
Can we get a what do you call it when you get a bunch of people to sign a petition? Get a petition to include the old ads in the trade paperbacks when they make them.
Yeah.
I want to see the ad breaks because it messes with the page turns. My page turns are all different than yours because there's no.
You brought that up last time, and I can't stop thinking about that now. Like the positioning of the ads makes this is on this side.
Yeah, mine's on the facing page over here. That should have been on the page flip.
Yeah, that's why things like CGC and comics. I understand why people do it, but to me, that just removes a comic out of circulation and it replaces the trading card. You don't get the letters page, you don't get the ads. And remember how many famous comic creators we saw in the letters pages? Yes, some of the ads would be canceled today. Mike,
true.
Ads. Right, Matt?
I mean, keep some of them, like there's a couple that I would slab because I actually have a couple different versions, and I wouldn't mind having one nice one up on my wall and then I'll keep my reader copy, but I'm not a collector in that way generally.
I know I'm a hypocrite because when my comic comes out, I'm probably going to send out a bunch of cover, and then if we get like 10s and stuff like that, I'll put them on eBay, I got to recoup the cost of making the comic somehow.
Right.
And here we got a Mantis over here. So you see the there's Mantis.
I love this little shot of them. That's such a great grouping of characters.
Yeah, so he was using the Cosmic Cube to age Captain Marvel. He was, typical. Thanos always gets defeated by himself. Thanos could have just used the Cosmic Cube to give himself whatever victory he wanted. It was the Infinity Stones before the Infinity Stones. But what does he do? He gives Captain Marvel accelerated age. So Captain Marvel is just aging, shrinking. And then while the Avengers are dealing with Thanos, old man Captain Marvel comes up and shatters the cube. You know what I mean? Thanos always gives him this, creates the seeds for his own defeat.
Well, he didn't pay any attention to Captain Marvel because he thought he was already too old to do anything.
And that's a metaphor for modern day life. Guys, pay attention to us old people. We have wisdom to depart on.
We could still shatter that cube.
Yeah, we could still shatter your cubes, ladies and gentlemen. So I love this.
I love all these little panels. This makes me want to do a page with little panels of well-composed little images. I love every one of these these last
so
2
much,
pages worth, and that next one that looks great
so
too
much
with those little
dialogue,
shots.
too. Who said there was so much dialogue? Yeah. Now I'm feeling adequate. I'm re-going through the dialogue of my comics. I'm like, Jim Starlin would be disappointed in me.
He's like, I read this in 5 minutes. It should have taken me 20.
Yeah. You could make mini comics as advertising and leave them in doctors' offices and the like.
Yeah, right.
You know, I'm not allowed back at the doctor. My gynecologist said I was a hypochondriac. If you have wisdom, and watch out for old people. They might break your stuff. Yep. Are the beards considered Gen X? If so, yeah, I'm Gen X.
Yeah, I'm right at the tail end of it, actually, in 75.
Yeah, Gen X. We're like the last generation to just not give a shit.
we were like the generation to not give a shit, and everybody thought we weren't going to do anything, but most of us got to work. We all got to work.
I go, and like, we were latchkey kids. We dealt with bullies.
We grew up without the internet.
Yeah, we were out in the streets, and like there was the tough kids, and
if you saw a great movie, you'd never see it again ever until maybe it showed up on TV on Saturday someday. Yeah. Maybe
you had to go to your friend's house. That one kid who had cable.
Oh, that's even when cable came out. I just remember I was talking to somebody not that long ago where I was like, oh, it was when my power went out, and I was sitting there on the porch and just thinking, what the hell did we do before all of this? Because like
comic.
Yeah, I did. I read comics. I didn't have anything to do. I drew.
I read comics. I played Dungeons and Dragons, and I played board games, and that's still what I'm doing right now. I haven't changed much.
I used to go to the library a lot.
I used to live in the library.
Yeah, same here.
That's why I fell in love with all that old Ditko stuff. The early Hulks and Doctor Stranges. And here we have the first shot of the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, this is okay. So is this the very first ever appearance of all
the Infinity Stones? They were referenced in the previous issue, but this is the first time they were ever here. The scroll. So he gets the idea. He's defeated now, and what does he say? Through the minds and libraries of 1,000 worlds, he searched for the key for darkness, a door, and at last on a scroll from a dead world, he found a scroll that told of 6 beautiful but deadly gems whose origins were only vaguely and fearfully hinted at. Each individual gem possessed awesome powers. Together, they could accomplish even that which Thanos desires. The Titan was determined that the 6 soul gems, you see, they're called the soul gems. The soul gems would be his. The first one he stole from the stranger. The second he freed from a prison satellite from an alien civilization. The third was in a deep cavern on a world known as Deneb 4. The fourth, he slew a monster named Zambor to gain. Zambor. And the fifth, he found on Earth's moon, recently abandoned by a man only known as the Gardener.
And I think it's just sitting there on it's like a pebble just sitting there. He just picks it up. And no fuss, no muss.
The 6th, my own gem, he feared to pursue, for it is the power to steal souls, a prize even Thanos dare not sacrifice. So instead, he chose to pose as my ally against the enemy, the Magus. And he gave him a chance to siphon off the elements he needed from the gem without my being aware. And then he made a synthetic 6th gem. So here we
real quick. So just to recap, the High Evolutionary gave Adam Warlock the Soul Gem, right?
Right.
And where did the High Evolutionary get it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
If they never
Marcus,
thought of that.
Marcus is like
Marcus.
He's like our footnotes.
Yeah.
We did life. You reference what
true.
we do before the internet. We made fools out of ourselves just for the immediate crowd to see, not for the world to see. Because
I started cleaning house, man. I didn't know what else to do. I just cleaned house. Did some gardening.
I would go outside with a magnifying glass and burn ants. Starlin drew the studio crew. His technique was Starlin drew with the studio crew. His technique was dope. So he had a whole bunch of people helping him draw this.
Oh, okay.
His color separations are up there with Michael Golden.
Yeah, this issue, which is done by, what was her name? Like Xanadu Johnson? Petra Goldberg. Petra Goldberg.
who was married to Stan Goldberg, who did a lot of Archie comics, and then he did a lot
Oh,
of
Stan, yeah. I
yeah.
love Stan Goldberg. Okay. I didn't know that.
So now he's talking about how Gamora got into, like Glynis Wynn was originally Glynis Oliver, who married Len Wein.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite colors. She did a lot of Alan Davis stuff that I remember reading when I was young. So yeah.
One of my favorite colors is Tajana Wood, who was the wife of Wally Wood.
Oh, yeah. All the wives, all the colorists, man. You got to move in quick on them colors because all the artists are going to be scooping them up.
Yeah, because all the women and these Marvel guys, it was the only women they knew.
I remember chatting with this is a little off the subject, but I remember chatting with Larry Hama in New York, and he was telling old stories. And he's like, "Yeah, everybody here is sleeping with each other's ex-wives. So everybody's married to each other's ex-wives. It's a small group, the comic book community.
Yeah,
in New York.
So it happens. As the fates would have it, a young assistant Gamora who had recently escaped from a being called the Destroyer. I discovered her in her master plan. She tried to end the Titan's madness with a strong blade, but it proved not strong enough. Then he turned and he slew her. So what happened was Gamora originally worked for Thanos. She was like an assassin for hire. And then she fell in love with Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock turned her. She went back to Thanos and tried to kill him. And then Thanos killed her. And then that's what we see at the beginning where Adam Warlock took her soul and absorbed it into his mind.
So that was that whole recap where he was standing there with the Avengers.
Yeah.
And they're all, they should have them like all eating popcorn and like, you know. Wow, that was a good story.
Yeah, holy moly. We're going to space now, right?
Yeah.
And I love that because like his word balloons, if you could see it, they have like these like lightning bolts indicating that he has some sort of different voice.
Like, I imagine it being like booming, you know.
Yeah, like a majestic voice, you know.
Well, does Thor have a different? You'd imagine him being pretty thunderous.
You think out of all the characters, Thor would have his own unique word balloons. But so far, just Vision and Adam Warlock.
This is why Starlin went through so many editors, because he was like, "No, I want a lightning bolt at the end of every." And they're like, "I'm done with you."
And then, here we got Pip the Troll. Last we saw him, he was on that like world, just causing trouble. So Pip is the comedy relief, and Pip is the id, and Gamora was like the ego, and Jim Starlin, and Warlock was like the super ego. When they were together, they were the team. So there was always like the moral compass, the immoral compass, and then the guy who's like, hey, we should do this. So Pip is looking in the absolute worst place for his buddy Adam Warlock. And remember, the last time Pip saw Thanos, they were allies.
Yeah, and he didn't like him much then either. So yeah, this is pretty dumb.
Yep. So Pip is looking for Adam Warlock. Where did he go?
It's either brave or dumb or a little bit of both, Yeah.
Probably counting on his charm and like lucky nature. Well, yeah. Warlock's obnoxious friend Pip. How amusing. Hell of a nice guy. Oh yeah, I kind of stepped on the joke. Because there's one good thing about no one being here. That means I don't have to deal with Thanos. Now there's one hell of a nice
guy. Yeah. He's right behind me, isn't he? Yeah.
I got to say, I bet you your page count ruined that joke for you.
It did. It's like right there. Yeah. It threw it all out of whack.
Yep. And then I love this panel. Look at Thanos.
Because they don't know how to comic anymore. They don't know what this is all about.
I love these like footy boots on him. I don't know. I love because the first appearance of Thanos, he was kind of narrow, but then they made the right choice of like
look at how much more menacing your panel looks than mine. I don't know why. It's that paper.
It's the paper, the colors. Yeah.
The colors kind of sit at the top of this paper, and it's a little more bright. And then I was looking at the screen at yours, and he looks way more menacing in yours.
Yeah, this is kind of a scary.
Yeah.
like those eyeballs have depth.
Yeah, yeah. This is just all kind of on the top. I mean, it's still good, but yeah, I wish we had real newsprint like this. This
Yeah,
thick kind of. Yeah, I even like that Baxter paper. You know, that stuff was cool too when they would use that. But
Arrow comics. I just got some Arrow comics, and they're printed by Kablam, and I'm really interested of getting my comic. I want to try out Kablam. I want to try out what's the other one, Comics Wellspring, and compare them, because Kablam, from what I've seen from Arrow Comics or Silverline Comics, they look the most like old comics.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to try that. This is a little bit of weird, obscure Marvel history that I really like. This is StarCorps. StarCorps is the satellite that orbits the sun and just monitors sun activity. And it never got a series. They referenced it in the Avengers. They referenced it in the Defenders. And they referenced it in the Fantastic Four. But there was never really, and as far as I know, it's still orbiting the sun. You know, it was like a.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
you can imagine they monitor second Earth as well, because that's just on the other side of the sun. You know, maybe for anybody trying to come to Earth from the second Earth.
Yeah, and you think if they were going to monitor for an invasion, like would they be far away from the sun? You think like all this thing, but then again, you forget. You know, it's not like all the planets are over here. They're you know what I mean. If you're out by Mars, then Saturn could be so far away on the other side. But I just love it. And they all had names. Like Marvel had like names for a lot of the SHIELD agents. Like there was Clay Quartermain, and you know a lot of these names that you saw over and over again. Like the Legion of Superheroes, if you remember, they had the Interpol, the Interpolice, the Intergalactic Police.
Right.
And some of the police had names, and they became characters on their own. And some of they would date some of the Legion of Superheroes. I love when they have secondary characters that aren't just NPCs. Like these StarCorps guys. You know, this is something I would love to like. Again, I keep saying like write for Marvel, but it ain't gonna happen. But do like a StarCorps miniseries, 4-ish. What happened to these guys? You know, did the ship get destroyed? You know, and it's so primitive looking by comic book standards. You know, so cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and at one point, the Guardians of the Galaxy ship came and like overwhelmed it, and you know. Back in, I think, Avengers 177. I see a lot of comments, guys. I'm not ignoring you. I just got so caught up with this. Inks on the cloak and the face. Yeah, the inks on the cloaks, the faces. Absolutely. I agree with you. I agree with you. Didn't the Mandarin from Iron Man use the Infinity Stones in ring form? No, he had the 10 rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always loved that each ring had a different power, and then he could use combinations of them to make different things. Like he could use the fire and water ring to make like a blast of steam, and you know, I don't know. I thought the Mandarin was so cool, but you know, I guess it's not politically correct to have a villain.
Did that come after this stuff? Like, was that inspired?
Iron Man back in Tales of Suspense before this, but he just had magic rings. Comics sometimes they'll take into account how long it takes to say something. Yeah, like you'll see like a punch, and then like you know a big long soliloquy. You know, absolutely. But that's part of the charm.
Yeah, and I think that's also part of the page count as well, because they're communicating a lot more story. And now you see where we are now, where they don't do that.
Right, and because now it's real time.
Issues go by where they barely completed a damn thought. You know. Whereas they would complete a thought in every panel of these old books. So
these comics in the 70s,
literary.
Yeah, like what takes 6 issues for a story today would be done in 1 issue in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
1 page sometimes.
Marcus says, I'm not sure how the High Evolutionary got the Soul Gem, but the Power and Time Gems were introduced in Marvel Team Up 55.
Ah, okay.
That was the Project Pegasus, right? That was a great run. That might be something worth doing on Two Beards, the Project Pegasus story.
This recap that he tells of Thanos in 3 pages, 3.5 pages, is more story than most modern comics that I've read.
Yep, and better drawn.
Yeah. So
Mandarins. Okay, so the Mandarin got his rings from an alien pilot that crashed the ship near Asia. Okay, I can't remember. Yes, Alternate does newsprint. Yes. it does different newsprint, but it's the closest to old comics, and they're gorgeous looking. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, I like it.
I think older comics carried more weight on the colors. The older one, just like I'm not exactly 100% sure what you're saying here. I think older comics carried more. I just think they had, these were all hand done by a woman with ink on paper. So I don't know, like maybe they had more of a human touch, and then they Kelsey, you color. I think the paper just absorbed the inks a lot differently than
yeah. We have to we have settings in Photoshop now that if it's on coated paper, you set it for that so that the color is like not nearly as dark, or if it's on uncoated paper, the ink will soak into the paper more. Oh no, so that's a little bit lighter. So if it's coated paper, the ink just kind of floats on top and it doesn't soak into the paper as much. So you can color darker and it'll still show up. But if you're doing really dark color and then you're going to put it on uncoated paper, it can make it even darker, So sometimes you'll see that when you're like, oh God, this is so dark. And you didn't have any clue about that.
I don't know how Rubenstein inked. I only started learning about how artists actually do their work when I started doing this channel. It was just
he might have been a brush inker, but I mean, there's guys that I could have sworn used brush, and they like for me, who's the guy that Dan Green, who inked Silvestri a lot on X-Men and Wolverine. I could have sworn he was all brush, but I think he did a lot of pen in that as well, like the quill, he did a little bit of everything. So yeah,
this to me is the only awkward panel in the book. Just Captain America.
Yeah. It's like he's eating his face.
Yeah. It looks like he's talking into a big blue microphone or something.
But I love this. This is like something out of a Spielberg movie where it's like, you're seeing all the enemy ships coming.
Thanos is invading our solar system, guys. Yeah. That's what's going on. And then Ben Grimm, Hank McCoy says, "Oh, my stars and garters."
Yeah.
Which is like his catchphrase. And then we got
how are the Avengers gonna stop thousands of these guys? Oh, that's a great shirt.
How cool would you be with that shirt?
Cool. I'd wear that right now, and I don't wear shirts with stuff on them, but I'd wear that one.
I would wear that. Yeah.
I want those watches.
With these watches,
yeah,
you'd be a chick magnet.
Yeah, in 1977.
Well, first off, you wear these watches, and then these are transistor radio watches.
Oh,
so you'd have to be fighting off girls.
I remember it was a big deal when the calculator watch came out. I was all about that.
And then we could get Slim Jims and strong arms. This always bothered me. That this to me always looked like a body with one foot.
It also looks like it's skinned. Like it looks like just no skin on it, just the muscles. It's creepy.
And then we got
all right. Next, I believe we've already gone over an hour, and we're not even halfway through this.
I know it's just so dense and so good. And now I think we got Jim Starlin, saving on time with a lot of these panels have no backgrounds, but you don't need it. He did so much at the beginning that it's okay. So now we got Moondragon. She's like, I got a space cruiser. Where's Warlock? He already left. And I just love how in the middle of Manhattan, the Avengers just take off interstellar spaceships. Yeah,
you think about the guy living in this apartment and everything starts rattling. He's like, what the hell? I got away from the subway because of this.
And now we have this little thing of they're just sitting in their ships now with their thoughts. They're preparing to die is what they're doing. You know what I mean? Even Moondragon here, who's so arrogant, she tells you a little bit about her history, how she was being prepared to be the celestial Madonna, meaning that she was going to give birth to the ultimate being in the universe, but then she lost that role to Mantis. And interestingly enough, when Steve Englehart went to DC, he brought that character to DC with her. So Mantis, I forget the name of it, but that character just got another name and was in the Justice League. And then when he went to I think First Comics, he brought that character with us. So she's the same character in 3 different companies, with different names. And I think he finished her story in First Comics. But
I love that middle panel where she's telling her story, and you got the little vignettes of
Drax,
heads and spaceships and cars, and illustrating what she's talking about, kind of.
Yep, that's Drax before he became Drax the Destroyer. That's
where the one with the pipe, the guy with the pipe,
right here. Yep, that's her father when he was human, and that's her father when he's not human. Then we got Iron Man over here, just like. He's kind of giving the Silver Surfer a run for his money with this existential angst. But look at that panel. I love that.
Yeah, that is great. Yeah, all 3 of those are really fun.
Captain Marvel talking about Rick Jones. How is Rick Jones? We forget Rick Jones has been entirely excised from the MCU, and he's like the Forrest Gump of early Marvel. He created Hulk. He stumbled on Captain America, became his sidekick. Then he became the sidekick to Captain Marvel. He formed the Avengers. He did so much, and then he was Hulk's sidekick forever, and now he's not in any of the movies.
Well, he brings up an interesting point here. He's like, alone, I've crushed dozens of world beaters. Yet, the last time around, the entire Avengers were only able to thwart that Titan's plans, not the man. What was he talking about? That's the Avengers.
That was the last when he smashed the cosmic cube. It was the last time they fought.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So that's I wish that story was in here, but I guess it doesn't pertain to this.
It's not Warlock's story. Yeah.
Right.
And then Thor, he's just perhaps Thanos. Perhaps this time Thanos and I shall meet face to face. Long have I craved to test my might against his foul power. So Thor never fought Thanos. He's in for a treat.
I love that body language on Thor.
Yeah,
he's just so cool about it. He's just like, man, I can't wait to get my claws into this guy again. And test my test of strength.
Thanos, a product of evolved offshoot of the gods of Olympus, is in effect a mutant demigod. That's a good explanation. So, is being logic. And then Thor is like, if only I had more firepower. What am I doing here? I bet that Warlock knows more about this than he shared with us. You know what I mean? Captain America. He think about it. On this plane right now, he's the least powerful. Even Beast could lift up like 1,000 pounds or so. And the Beast is like, what am I doing here? I got to admit, I'm pretty skeptical about this until I looked into his eyes, those eyes. I've seen it before. Like they've seen life, death, and infinity and then understood it all.
Yeah, he's really crunching on it. What's funny about Cap is he's not like afraid. He's just kind of going over it in his head, but you can see, Thor's not afraid or whatever. But
Thor's chomping at the bit to fight.
But even like Beast, he's like trying to, consider it all as a scientist would. He's scratching his head.
Maybe that's why he looks so tired and sad. And then which maybe you may be aiding us now, but I sense Warlock and a Soul Gem can prove to one day to be our foe. And the thought of that scares me. And then I love this, Moondragon's flying the ship. And look, it's just an armada. What are they going to do? What are they going to do about that? Here we go, guys. We're going to go out and fight. And I love this. Like all these spacefaring superheroes, these guys don't need suits or anything like that. So Iron Man, well, obviously Iron Man is a suit, you know what I mean? So he's right. But Thor doesn't need a spacesuit. So he's just literally like.
But what about Beast? I mean, Cap, they got to have suits, but they're still in the ship, I guess.
Yeah. Look at Thor's just smashing ships. Iron Man's just flying through ships. It's just so cool.
I mean, Thor just like took out like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 10, 11 ships with one.
Yep.
For him, Thor.
It's the ninja principle. There's 9,000 spaceships, so 8,750 of them have to be worthless. You just take out like stormtroopers or red shirts.
Exactly.
If there's one ninja, he's beaten the entire Avengers. I love this. He gets hit by like photon torpedoes over here, and just rages lightning and space. And Iron Man just flying around, just blasting ships, ripping through the hull. I don't understand why Captain Marvel didn't go out. He could survive in space, and Jim Starlin knew that. But he's
not even here, like, because he left, right? So
he's right there.
He's waiting for his what?
He's right.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was thinking of Adam Warlock. Yeah,
yes, Captain Marvel. He blasts through the hull. So now for those of you who don't know what they're doing, they're going into Thanos' flagship. And then I love that panel. They're just dropping in on Thanos right now.
Yeah, that.
And then
they're dropping into this like group of aliens. I guess this is Thanos' thugs.
Yeah, we got super free booklet bodybuilding course over here.
Oh, guns! Look, you can buy guns and
this page right over here. Super bodybuilding course. Muscles will appear almost like magic, and then get a gun.
Hey, if you can't get the muscles, get the gun. Either way,
Get them both. You're a man. Get the guns, and then boom, they're just wading through like an ocean of just.
That's such a great.
I love this crocodile with the space helmet right here. Can you guys see that? Just a crocodile in space.
It's so good.
It's not weird enough just to have a crocodile in space, but he's got to have like antenna.
So I'm wondering, like, does Thanos' guys have a name? Like the Morlocks or I know that's not them, but you know what I mean? Do they have like?
As far as I know, no. As far as I know, they're just like conscripted aliens. Like, just fight with me. Just
yeah.
And some of these races I recognize, like this one over here, I recognize from the Marvel universe. This guy up here, this gorilla, winged gorilla. That's definitely from Wizard of Oz, right? That's a Wizard of Oz reference.
Oh yeah, right. But you're right. The alligator wins that page. I think that's such a great character.
But Beast is just fighting this like slithery tentacle hentai monster. I love that because like right over here you can see Vision is just taking out two monsters. Scarlet Witch is blasting, but Beast is more like one-on-one. I'd like that. He's giving a sign, but he's not like overpowering them. Like Beast, Beast isn't going to just run through and wade through all these villains.
But Cap does. Cap's like doing somersaults around everybody.
And Vision is cool. He's just phasing out here, so they're shooting and blasting behind them with these, weapons. Scarlet Witch, they're using Scarlet Witch's powers properly. She causes the improbable to happen, not the impossible. So their guns are malfunctioning and exploding. This poor pig guy, I actually feel bad for him. And then Moondragon, she's just in this funky, what's that called, a kata. And then we got the secret of teaching yourself guitar. Just, when the violence gets out of control, calm down, guys. Play a song, relax, get your chakras back into alignment with this.
That's like 4 ads within 4 pages. Like they're like pouring it on thick right now. They know everybody's really invested in this moment right now. So
it's like the last 20 minutes of something you see on TBS. But check out his hair. For those of you who thought that Jim Starlin was drawing bad haircuts, no, this is what we looked like back in the 70s. I had that haircut in the 70s. I probably had that shirt. And then
we all have the photo of us with the bowl haircut, I think, from the 70s.
There's Alan Moore in his first incarnation as Crazy David, buying T-shirts.
His sales are crazy.
I'm with Stupid. Stupid's with me. Do they have the Rat Fink? That was so big in the 70s. No, I don't see the Rat Fink.
This is how we got stuff back in the day. Like, it's so weird, You ordered it out of magazines and stuff.
When muscles and guns aren't enough, if you can't be the
guitar,
be the sensitive guy. They got you covered. Marvel's got you covered. You're gonna get the chicks. You don't got the muscles. You don't got the guns. Be the sensitive. Yeah. Learn some songs. Sweet talk them. Wouldn't it be funny to have this Captain Marvel done correctly in the movie? Oh yeah, that was just a mistake to go right to Carol Danvers. I got so
Yeah.
excited when I saw the movie and Jude Law was cast because I thought Jude Law was going to be Marvel. How perfect. He doesn't even need makeup.
Oh.
How cool would it have been to see Jude Law in that costume?
Yeah, they messed that all up. In their rush.
Just saying hello to some person. He's saying hello. When Muscles and Guns
Hello.
Yep. And now we got Crazy David. And now back to our regularly scheduled program. So like you said, Captain America is just like he's using jiu-jitsu.
That's the page I was looking at since mine are all messed up. My page pagination of my book. But he was
like a human.
Like you were saying, Beast is going one-on-one. They all have like their tricks, but Cap's just an ordinary guy, except he's got the serum that makes him, a little more agile, a little stronger, but still, not invulnerable.
Right.
But he's just making chumps out of everybody. He's dodging around, smashing into him.
I like the visions just phasing through everybody. And then the Beast gets caught up by this like mechanical gorilla brain cybernetic thing.
Cool. I feel like I've seen Mike Mignola draw that at some point, right? Like
Kolar, the massive.
The
Lord, this one can talk. And then this I love. Captain Marvel just swoops in with, I think, just looks like one of the most powerful space laser bolts ever.
Yeah.
Boom! I just love that blast. And the inking on that explosion. It just looks great.
And then he's like, sit on it, Quaylar.
Sit on it, for those of you who don't know, was the insult on Happy Days. Sit on it, Potsy.
Sit on it and rotate. Yeah.
When Joni told you to sit on it, the only thing to do was just sit there and contemplate the nature of your actions on the tree of woe.
This page actually is so good. That shot of Beast is so cool looking.
Which one? The explosion?
Well, that one too. The color in that is awesome. And it looks so much better on that paper. It all blends together, but this one you can see all the edges of the different colors real clearly.
And look at the panel layout. So we got this rectangle panel over here, and then these panels are like infringing upon the space.
But these two shots, the one of Beast and panel 2, is so really well drawn. His musculature and his knees and all that are really great. And then the last panel of Captain Marvel busting through the door, that's like awesome looking. I mean, I know we're looking at his ass, but that's such a hard shot to draw. And it's like so dynamic.
Yeah.
It almost looks like a Bruce Timm drawing kind of, or I don't know. That's like a really good draw. I'm totally going to steal that.
and then are you ready for like the saddest page in the history of comics?
Oh boy.
By the stars, there's no one in here but Warlock and a dwarf. Who? His name was Pip, and he was my friend, perhaps my only friend. He was joy and light in this darkness and damnation. He was unique among the heavens, and Thanos destroyed his mind and left him for me to find. How evil is that? That's like, Thanos can blow up a sun, but that's like too abstract for me to understand. But he crushed Pip's mind and just left him standing there waiting for Captain Marvel, Warlock to find him.
So it really kind of, if you think about all that we've been through with Pip, how his fun shenanigans, his stealing, his freeing the sex slave, just all these adventures, and then we catch up to him and he's just gone. He's just gone.
His mind is destroyed. Yep.
Yeah.
So Warlock does what he can do. He absorbs his mind and basically kills him. And look at that. Could you guys actually see the expression on Pip's face? As a kid, that shocked me. This was like really one of the first times that I was like, oh my God. And this was the first time I saw Pip. You know what I mean? So this was shot. Yeah, I'll bring you your
there it is.
Look at that.
Wait, where is it? Yeah. Oh my God.
It's there you go. Look at that.
Yeah.
I know. It's horrific. It really is sad. I'm getting sad even now looking at it. And if you still wish to stop Thanos, come with me.
I now know where he hides because he just absorbed Pip's brain.
Yeah. Again, Thanos always sets the seeds for his own defeat. You know, he can't help but taunt Adam Warlock, and this one taunt basically sowed the seeds of his defeat over here. Because now he is. Look at Beast over here. You know, they're all just whipping by. So we got Captain Marvel and Warlock, like the two spacefaring heroes, just taking off to take out Thanos.
All these little shots, these great little composed panels are all so good.
So what do they do? It was all a ruse. Thanos' ship is on the other side of the sun. An exact replica of his ship. And that's what's doing. It's firing to destroy the sun. So the sun is actually changing color.
Oh.
You know? And just
I'm not
imagine
sure I
what
caught all that. That's great.
So they're showing. I love this panel over here. Two of my favorites. You know, this is what he's doing. You know, this is what's going to happen. First, the sun's going to flare up. All of the stuff is going to, you know, destroy the cities of destruction. You know, and here he is. What does he do? You could tell it's Captain Marvel because Captain Marvel has this gleaming sparkle. He just flies into Thanos' cannon. Boom! Takes out Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that was easy.
Well, that take out that saved the solar system because the sun.
That's why he made the duplicate, because that's how easy it was to take out.
And then
he should have made a couple duplicates, maybe.
Well, the gem is still there. It's just the gun. They made it. You know, the gun is destroyed.
Right.
And now, who? Adam Warlock, the God Slayer, has come for you, demon. Prepared to die. You know, and then now they're just fisticuffs. And what does he do? Nothing stops death. Not even a poor deluded maniac who claimed to be the champion of life. So die, Adam Warlock. My mistress awaits you. Tell her I follow shortly behind you, bringing the offering of an undreamed magnitude, the stars. So right here. And now we got like another commercial break. You know?
What is that? Gum? No, books. What are those?
Well, these are all candy bars. Clark bars, Zag nuts. You know, a lot of these aren't even in business anymore.
I don't think any of those exist anymore.
And then Strange. I never would have dreamed to. So guys, in case you're wondering, he just killed Adam Warlock. You know, it's not a hoax, not a dream. You know, he just willed him dead, and he's dead. And now, boom, the rest of the Avengers show up. How? And I love this panel. Look at that. Thor and Thanos just battling it out.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Iron
Man. Yeah, how did he kill him?
He doesn't even say. He just says die. You know, this green flash of light, you know, and die.
Is it because he has that soul gem?
Well, Thanos does. Well, he has the replica.
Well, the replica of it.
He never even explains it. He just says, "Fool, now die."
Well,
yeah, and Adam Warlock collapses. It's just this green flash of death light. You know, Thanos just unleashes his power. Who knows? And that, you know, maybe he's siphoning off this phony soul gem because it's the same.
How did you feel as a kid reading that after? I mean, did you read all of these issues and then you get to that point and you're like, what?
No, I read this first. So I didn't know who Pip was. And I was horrified when Pip died. You know, this was the first.
Well, no, this with I mean, Warlock is he just willed him to death.
Yeah.
Like that was it. After all the adventures that we've been on. But you read this first, so it probably didn't have the impact.
I read this first.
Oh, okay.
Then I read this. So, you know, so I already knew what was going to happen. So
that's such a gut punch, you know, where after everything, I mean, the Pip was kind of a thing, and then it's like, holy crap, that's it, huh? That's all. Yeah. All right.
But at this point, it's going to be a trick. He's going to get up.
Yeah.
You know, because Captain Marvel's not dead. And then I love Iron Man destroys the fake soul gem. And this is the only time Thanos shows no, my plans.
A great shot of him too.
Look at that. And they just stand there. You have destroyed my means to fulfill my dreams. For this you have earned the eternal enmity of Titan. The minutes of life remaining for you are few. So now, what do we have? Captain Marvel's waking up over here. Oh, you can't see him.
Yeah. So this whole thing, this is where, because some of this I don't like. I was flying through this pretty quick to get it all like read before our first show, and I've been meaning to go back and read it. So some of this stuff is like blowing my mind right now. Actually, some of the like I remember this scene being pretty wild.
Right.
Yeah.
So right now we have Captain Marvel. Remember, he flew into the mechanism of the soul gem and took it out, stunned himself unconscious. So he's witnessing this. So right now, as the only witness, is Adam Warlock is laying there mortally wounded.
Yeah.
And what does he see? The costume is slightly different. This is his past self from 2 years ago.
But this is like from that. Which issue was it? Here it is. From right here. Way back here in the book, which was issue 11.
Yep. Of the Warlock Code series.
That scene is right here. So I remember when I read this, and it's kind of getting me all over again. I was like, what the? I was like tripping out. And I'm like, how do you do that? That was like a magic trick they just pulled.
Yeah, this was phenomenal. So for those of you who don't remember, in issue 11, Warlock finds out that in the future, in 5,000 years in the future, he's going to become an evil version of himself, an all-powerful. This soul gem, kind of like the One Ring, is going to corrupt him so bad that he's going to become this omnipotent oppressor of galaxies.
So it was this whole scene from the other perspective,
right?
In that
issue, he kills himself.
Yeah.
So he goes and he goes and he uses the soul gem, which back then it was all the gems. He goes into the future to find himself defeated 2 years in the future, and kills him. So he can't become the Warlock, and he can't become the Magus.
This is kind of like in Back to the Future 2, when he goes back to 1955 or when was it? When he goes back in time to where his future self was also back there.
Right.
So he was going back and seeing like himself doing what he did in the first movie
behind the stage.
Right. So that kind of made me think of that, where it's like, oh, we finally caught up to that moment.
Right.
But it's all from the other side, kind of.
Just to illustrate this is current Adam Warlock laying in the rubble. This is the past Adam Warlock that traveled to the future. So,
which was this one in issue 11.
Issue 9. And so we saw the conversation, the same exact conversation, but now the perspectives have changed.
Yeah, but we're also seeing it from Captain Marvel's point of view, which we didn't even know he was there. He wasn't. He was off camera.
Yeah, he's under the debris. My final moments are upon me. I am dying, and you have come to steal my soul so that it will never become the foe I have defeated those long months ago. Months. I didn't realize it had happened such a short time ago. Short time, you fool! It's been an eternity. During that time, everything I've ever cared for, every accomplishment has fallen into ruin. Now, everyone I've ever loved lays dead. My life has been a failure. I welcome its end. Literally, that conversation was from the other side. So Adam Warlock in issue 9 is seeing, this is how I'm going to end, broken, dejected, considered a failure. I welcome death. And he fires up the soul gem. Marvel, what transpires here? Captain Marvel says, I'm not sure I could explain.
I love that. Yeah, it's like, I don't know how to describe what I did witness. We know I was tripping out when I was reading it the first time, and I didn't really get to really think about it. I remember telling you, I was like, I don't know how he did that. And you were like, it had to have been all planned.
Yeah. He must, you know, but the thing is, with all the editorial changes, he didn't know the sales. He couldn't have. I guarantee this probably would have been in issue 25 if Warlock continued, but Warlock didn't continue. When that comic got canceled, Starlin must have been furious.
And I'm thinking even now, maybe it was just a cool idea that popped into his head, but no, he mentions this,
Right.
that this is going to happen back in issue, whatever it was.
Right.
So it's like he knew this was coming at some point.
He planned it. He didn't know which issue. I doubt he thought it was going to be in Marvel 2-in-1 annual,
And did he know it was going to be this with the Avengers, or it's just this moment he knew was going to be a thing at some point? And I don't know how it's going to take form, but I still am kind of blown away by it. So, and I love
Captain Marvel's like, I can't explain. And then we have Green. So now we're from the perspective of inside the Soul Gem. Where am I? What about Warlock? He's like, and now he's like, a place you have long sought of, peace. So now he's in this specific afterlife. Gamora, Pip, because I'm in the Soul Gem, because we are one. We cannot feel the collective memory in the heart that we all share. And he's like, because everything's all right here. And because and everybody's here. They don't even mind my presence. And Captain Marvel's like, Adam Warlock is at peace.
So this is kind of like that. This whole scene, it reminds me of Star Trek Generations, that first Next Gen movie where I forget his name. No. He's trying to. There's this weird energy thing flying through space, and it's just destroying all kinds of stuff. And what's his name? Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell, yeah,
is like a crazy person who's trying to get into that thing.
Right.
And then when you get into it, you find Kirk is in there.
Yeah.
And it's some weird thing like this.
Eternity.
Like it's like heaven.
Right.
But it's not heaven. You're in this weird anomaly. So that it's kind of like that, where we get to see all our friends again.
Well,
but I'm left with this uneasy feeling that it's not real.
Right.
You know?
Autoclist, that's the matriarch over here.
Yeah, Autoclist, yeah, from the very first issue. Yeah.
Right. All of the people that he unwittingly killed with the Soul Gem. And then here he is. He's dead. You know, they're all standing over the body.
Yeah.
Check out these ads over here. Power Man and Iron Fist, Daredevil.
That's cool.
I mean, look at these great comics. Jeez. We got a spy pen.
Yeah.
Wonderful Jack Davis ad.
Jack Davis.
Yeah, Rick Barry and Dr. J. You know, just great ad. This is so good. Yeah, Jack Davis. And now,
I love Jack Davis.
Now we got this. Oh my God! So now this is, Warlock is dead.
Yeah.
Warlock is dead. But
can you imagine? I mean, I was trying to put myself. I mean, it blows my mind right now, but I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of like a young kid reading this, having no idea that any of this exists, and being. I would have been like on the floor, like, oh,
you kidding me? That defined how time travel is done in comics. Like, it has to be a closed loop. You can't change it. You know, there's only one timeline. I thought that was just brilliant. And then the death of Pip was shocking.
Yeah, that kind of hit me harder this time around. To be quite honest, I was like,
on the ground, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I started really considering what that like this time around. Everything that we've been on this adventure, you know, with him, and then that's how it ends so suddenly.
Space gambling and hookers and drinking and partying and stepping into poopies, just everything. Yeah. And then he doesn't even get killed. Like he gets his basically like turns him into like a vegetable, which is just horrible,
Yeah, it's like some existential terror kind of.
Yeah. That scares me more than death. Man, poor Pip, a bit foolish but loyal. Yep. Couldn't they transplant a potato into his head? Yeah, like they did on South Park. Yeah, Thanos has gone far down his dark path. Yeah, to me, like I said, destroying stars, it wasn't as horrible as what he did to poor Pip. Get yourself a Zagnut. They still sell Zagnut. I've never had one. What do they taste like? Starlin is great. Yeah.
I don't know. Zagnut.
Glad they have some kind of good afterlife together. Yep. And to me, Warlock never should have came back.
But see, the thing is that this is what I was saying about that. Is the Soul Gem the afterlife? I mean, is that real? Is what's happening? I mean, it's like he's trapped, but it's in the nicest prison you can imagine because it's all his friends and people that, and blah, blah, blah. nice place to get some rest. But anyway,
yeah. So
let's get into this, because this is where we're really going to have some fun.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man's
Jim
coming in.
Starlins, story and art. Joe Rubenstein, Annette K, letterer. I don't think I know Annette. Marcus, do you know anything about Annette K? Petra Goldberg, colorist, and Archie Goodwin, editor. And so now we got Peter Parker, for plot reasons, is having dreams about Thanos. But you know what? Maybe it's, if you remember, Tony Stark was plagued by visions too. So maybe it's just this whole presence of Thanos with this.
Well, it's like these are they're so tuned into, like, these are good guys,
and we forget,
and they're
he has spider senses too, so he is
right.
I forgot about that.
But actually, I mean, think about all the times you felt something bad, but you just chalked it up to having a bad day.
Yeah.
But Peter Parker being more attuned, having the spider sense and being more attuned to that, even stronger, he's able to put things together, trust his instincts. Maybe something's wrong. All these guys do. Yeah, so good.
So we the audience are being filled in through Peter Parker's dreams. So Peter is dreaming about the Avengers fighting in space.
See, I mean, it's so creative how they do the flashback. It's not just a flashback. It's Peter Parker's spider sense tingling.
Thanos is just smashing everything. Adam Warlock is killed. They're bashing Thor. Iron Man destroys this pseudo soul gem. And then we go to our first commercial break, which we see in this.
Sorry, I was all into the story. What do we got? I'm still looking for that bag of cash they was trying to give away.
Yeah. Well, maybe somebody claimed it at this point. It's the origin of Elon Musk as a kid. Spider-Man teamed up with Warlock and Marvel Team Up 55, so he has a link with Warlock. Okay. And you said that was 2 in 1 was the 2 of the Infinity Stones. Nothing was forgotten in these comics. Yes. They actually had one of the officers was like I think it was Archie Goodwin was like a continuity coach, or was it Mark Ruble? But it was somebody's job to check for continuity in all of the Marvel comics at this period.
I mean, that was so powerful that it made me like consider how I want to approach stories, going forward. Because when I got to that moment, it's like, it was just, I don't think I've ever felt anything like that in a comic book before, where I feel like a fast one had been pulled on me, I don't know. I wasn't expecting
a slow, fast one.
Yeah. No kidding, man. It's a sleight of hand, just wasn't expecting it.
It's like the Sixth Sense. They flat out told you how it was going to end.
Even though they told you, yes. Even though they told you.
When it ended, you were like, oh my God, they told me. Like that scene, I see dead people. They don't even know they're dead,
Yeah. And then suddenly it changes everything you read, prior to that, oh man.
Team Up introduced the power and time gems. So now we got Moondragon is using her psychic abilities to just like reach out for backup.
And she finds Peter Parker,
because he's got the spider sense. And now
I love this little freaky panel number 3 where it's like, it's her, it's Peter, it's Spider-Man, all connecting through the cosmic plane. So just weird art.
Got this little Ditko pathway through a wall. and he's telling her where to find him. And then all of a sudden she gets hit by this Harry Hussein Cyclops in the back of the head.
Oh yeah.
And then the Vision.
Harry Hussein, is that that's the Iraqi version of what did
I say? I said the
Ray Harryhausen.
Yeah, I always say his name wrong. His Persian brother-in-law. Yeah.
His Persian brother-in-law
getting taken out by Thanos.
Yeah.
Captain America's getting taken out. And this one she just gets punched with these spikes, right?
With spiked knuckles. I mean, whose knuckles were those?
Just some mindless alien. And then, Thanos is just gloating over the beast. Mm-hmm. And don't kill him or anything.
It comes just to an end. Just
start working on the spacefaring heroes. So he's taking out, I love this. It's like down Periscope. Look at his face. He's like, I'm going to enjoy this.
Yeah.
down periscope, and he just fires this like big thing right in Thor's chest. Boom! Takes out Thor, and the backlash takes out Captain Marvel and Iron Man.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Thanos
but it doesn't kill him. Yeah, it doesn't kill him.
Put them in the unnecessarily slow dipping mechanism. So now look at Thanos. He's just.
Yeah.
Can you see his body language over here? He's just like skippity doo, my darling. Just as all the Avengers are just trapped in this villain containment system. You know,
he continues to show that he's not worthy of death because he should. I mean, if he really wants Death's attention, like he keeps whining about, he would have just killed them all.
Right.
But instead, like you say, the slow death machine, you know.
Right. Maybe that's why Death doesn't like you, Thanos.
Maybe.
You ever stop and think about that?
Yeah, you're kind of non-committal, you know.
Right, yeah. You know, Death wants a confident, strong man. You know, whether you're a female embodiment of Death or you just, you know, Mary from down the block, women like confidence. You got a plan, stick to it. And then he just rips the gem off the corpse of Adam Warlock, you know. And then perhaps that will be enough to appease Death. And then
which that's kind of a scene that's actually a scene in the movie, but they pulled the gem out of
the Vision. Yeah.
Vision. Yeah.
And then he's just like, it's all true. I know it's true. You know, naked Peter Parker. He's going to put on his costume. But how do you get to space, Pete?
But see, this is what I was saying about, I think a couple episodes ago, I was talking about how close this is to those movies. The scene he's riding on a school bus instead of having these dreams, and he gets the Spidey sense tingling. He looks over and sees the weird spaceship that's there, you know. So it's like all the events that happen in this book are in that movie, just kind of rearranged a little bit and changed.
Right. I like what Zach says. Maybe he wants to kill him ceremoniously. Yeah, that's exactly what he wants to do. He wants to make a big grand display out of it.
Yeah.
You know, and now we have, meanwhile, countless light years away on the edge of infinity, a voice is heard. It goes badly. Death's gained peace has a point as the superior positioned Lord Chaos. We are already forced to face our reserves. Lord Order, you know, Master Chaos and Lord Order. So these are like abstract concepts that are just now getting involved.
Do these eventually kind of coalesce into, aren't there like Watcher characters, or is that DC? What am I thinking of?
Well, the Watcher is Marvel. You know, he lives on the moon and records. But these are just abstract, you know, Marvel always has these like abstract concepts as their deities, whereas DC, I think, is more like religious. The Marvel.
Yeah, I think the thing I'm thinking of are in DC. They're like robed alien kind of looking characters. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know that. Oh, like the Endless. You know, the seven beings next to Sam.
Maybe.
But this Lord Order and Master Chaos, and now, you know, you've picked your champion, Spider-Man. I'm picking my champion, Ben Grimm. You know, okay. You know,
out of everybody in the universe, these constructs could have chosen. They choose Ben Grimm and Spider-Man. Right. Hey, this is pretty funny.
And I love that. So Spider-Man's how am I going to get to space? Well, everybody knows Fantastic Four's got SpaceX. So I love this. He's on the Chrysler Building, looking downtown at the Baxter Building.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I worked at the building that was the model for the Baxter Building, and it was called the Merchant Building, and that's where Marvel was at one point, and then a couple of blocks away was during the period that I was working for Marvel. I used to go out there. I had to change the lights, strap myself on. Oh my God, I was so freaking scared.
So I went there after they moved, and it was like messy office. It was dark. It's so funny because it looked like a place where they were working, and then I went to DC, and you hear like a distant phone ringing. You know, it's very office like and, you know, clean and
yeah. The Marvel, I was so disappointed when I went there. I was like, oh my God, this is miserable. And that's when I found out about Zach. Richard, and I started telling him stories about that. And he made a couple of videos. I was one of Richard Meyer's earliest. So I always bring that up when people say, you're just new to CG. I'm like, dude, I was in it before Ethan Van Sciver.
You were an informant. You were an informant.
I was one of the originals. Just because I wasn't making comics at the time doesn't mean I wasn't in CG. But here we go. Ben Grimm is reading Salem's Lot, and I love this. Spider-Man just taps him on the head, and he freaks out. He gets scared, and he inhales a cigar.
Why is it so appropriate, too, that he would be reading Salem's Lot? I mean, it just seems, I don't know.
Okay, where's everybody else? Benji, good insect. Do you know how much that cigar just cost?
He would be reading a Playboy, but they had the comics code back then. He couldn't put that in there. But
so he's telling them, like, shut up. What's going on? We got to deal with this. And I love this. Ben is like serving him coffee. He's got the mask off so he could drink the coffee. He's like, what's going on? Things are going crazy. And then appropriately, we have a Captain Marvel with Twinkies, which is why he's one of the best superheroes ever. And this giant mouth. He's all mouth.
How do you defeat that? You defeated a big Twinkie, I guess.
Oh, big Twinkie. And here he is. Turbo he was Torpedo. He was originally the Torpedo. And then later they turned him to Turbo.
All right.
So, do you have any way to get to space? He's like, yeah, of course. We always got a spaceship laying around,
Look at this. We're back on track. I have the same spread now.
Okay.
The pagination is back to the way it should be. All right.
Now they're flying up. Ben's being the pilot. So now we got, the two newcomers. It's funny because I can't help but think of this as a role-playing game. So, like, the people who've been playing for a long time, and then two other people show up on the next session. How are we going to get them to join? You know what I mean? Phil and Bob just showed up. They're not regular players. Okay. Spider-Man and here I love all these broken derelict ships just floating around.
I hear who was the voice actor of Spider-Man and Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends? Do you remember?
I don't remember his name.
It wasn't Casey Kasem, was it? But when he says this, the biggest darn spaceship I've ever seen. Look, it just makes me think of that cartoon.
Every time I think of that Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, all I think of is swarm.
What was that?
The episode with Swarm.
Oh, I don't remember.
Guy, people would and they'd grow antennas and they just go swarm.
Oh, I just remember that room when they flip the switch and everything would flip around. I was like, I want that so bad. I want everything in my house.
Aunt May left.
But I mean, when I was reading this Spider-Man kind of made me feel like, oh, this is the Spider-Man I grew up with. I know this Spider-Man.
I love the shadow. Like, you see the sun, so the shadow. That's just
such a cool shot. That whole that whole panel.
I kind of wish there wasn't the speed lines,
Oh yeah.
And then we have they're going in, and Ben Grimm just kicks the door off. No way, Ben! I didn't just come along for the ride. You're not going to hog all the fun. And they're just fighting aliens, all because Peter Parker had a dream, But really, it's like ordained. Lord Order and Master Chaos have
let me see if I can
pieces into play.
See this bird guy?
Where is he? Oh, yes, right here. Yeah.
Yes, he shows up a couple pages before that. I think Starlin liked that guy.
This like robot looking guy. This snake guy. This guy's like an owl guy.
I like all the background characters. Yeah, he shows up like earlier. I was looking at him going, oh, like cool.
This almost looks like a cartoon.
Yeah, here he is. I don't know if it's the same guy, but when he's pulling the periscope down, is that the same one?
And then we got Thanos just watching. He goes, stage 0 environment. So he just turns off the gravity, the life support. Ben, something cut off the gravity. I recognize that voice anywhere. This side of the grave, that's Thanos. Spidey, I think we're done for. And then he's trying to help out, and then Thing just gets blasted right in the face. Right?
What does that say? Next. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he gets shot right in the two ever-loving blue eyes, right? Who was it that said they think the reason why Ben Grimm's always bringing up his blue eyes because that's the only thing that didn't change? It's like the only remnant of humanity.
Well, what was his tongue and stuff? Did he have a?
Yeah, but do you want to go around referencing your tongue? It's not Gene Simmons.
My tongue.
I'm the ever pink, ever flexible tongue. He only brings that out for Alicia. It's yet another round ghost. So death is winning. Spider-Man and the things have been taken out of play. Of course, what did you expect to happen? Neither were meant to carry the day for us. Their job is to release the man who will. The man must be called forth from the gem, the world of green hills and emerald skies. Our champion, of course, is still Adam Warlock.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
and then we cut to commercial.
Oh yeah.
Now, just remember last issue, if you had the watch, the transistor radio watch, that Hulk or that Conan t-shirt, and now this belt buckle, man, they can't release that all in one comic because if you just get that much swag, every girl in the neighborhood's going to be pregnant.
Just think about how much were they like subcontracting all this stuff? Stan was busy, man. He was
people were
licensing out stuff.
Right. People were paying Stan Lee to sell these products. This Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four board game, I had this game and I used to just like demand we play it, and it was terrible. I got to get another copy now. I got to get another copy. And then we got the Slim Jim and this creepy Muscle.
Yeah. Repeats.
So now we're inside the Soul Gem, and
I love the color on that, the lighting, that green with that purple.
Yeah.
Just so eerie looking.
Yeah, I agree with Marcus says. The two Everyman characters fighting also. Yeah, that's like the point of this, is that they're out of their league. They're out of their element. This is not like the Thing as much as he's a big pile of rocks. He's like he said, Ben Grimm, that Yancey Street bum. He's not supposed to be out in space battling like a demigod of death.
That's what makes it so fun. And Spider-Man's just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
He's not in the solar system. Right. He's not your friendly known universe Spider-Man. The company that did those ads eventually became heroes. I didn't know that. Marcus with the facts.
Oh, wow.
So I love this. Like, there's people just idyllically hanging out.
Like it just doesn't feel right. It ain't right.
Yeah.
Like
Gamora, it's so grand to be with you again. Even the good feel. It's even the good feeling of seeing my old foes who fell victim to the gem's hunger, for they are no longer enemies. We all have happiness. I pray at my last. Darkness, light, awareness, reality. Like, it's just hinting that it ain't gonna last. When was the last time anything happy lasted in a comic book? And then
just Spider-Man. Holy cow! Just what a way to end that. So dramatic, and then
And then look at this insane panel. We got the Avengers all lined up like action figures. We got Thanos over here with this like light bulb device above his head. It's just insanity.
Yeah, it's really well done though.
Yeah,
all those figures are great. Except Beast was always a little dumpy back in the day. He kind of looks.
Yeah, he's like squat. He's almost like gorilla shaped.
Yeah, it's such a great
he's a little shorter than the Vision. Because I gotta go back. Because I thought you might enjoy being shown the fate you are escaping by becoming part of my shall we say, trophy collection. And then I love this retort allow me to retort there, Thanos. What I'd really enjoy is I messed it up. What I'd really enjoy is putting my fist in your face, creep. That's such a Ben Grimm, like you said, Everyman. Ha! I like your friend Ben Grimm. He's a schemer.
Yes. Parker should be like, yeah, you tell him, Ben, but no, he's like, no, let's hear him out.
And there's something. Well, there's a Spider-Man scene coming up that I actually love. I really do love. And now, what's he doing? Like, Thanos just teleports over here, just like a, like a what's that? Conspicuous display of power. Look what I could do. And here's a gem. Like, I'm gonna put it right in front of your face because there's nothing you can do about it. Because even as we stand here, my army is readying another stellar projector, which will bend this gem's power to my will. That power will then be focused on your sun, causing it to go nova. And he's just like exploding as he says it, destroying all life in your solar system. Good heavens, why? Why good heavens?
Yeah, he's got to tell everything. He's monologuing. Yeah,
he's monologuing, and that's what Peter Parker. Well, that's what Spider-Man wants him to do.
Yeah,
he wants him to monologue so Pete can come up with the plan. So now we just got all of this talking about how he's in love with death, and this is a grand scheme to get. And I love he's just like shouting at the sky. Yeah, like that is why your solar system must die, Mister.
I'm horny for death.
Yeah, I'm horny for death. Oh, there you go. There's the next comic. There you go, Kelsey. I'm
horny for death.
Mister, you're really sick. And I'll tell you what, Dr. Grimm here has the cure for what ails you. His world famous knuckle knockout formula. And he just punches him right in the breadbasket. Yeah. Some person, you actually making me laugh here. He's giving all his information. And my password is 1234556. Social security number. He's just telling them everything. Again, Thanos sets up his own defeat. So Thing just punches him and
ego,
then he just repels them all. Good Lord. He just laid out the Thing for the 10 count without even working up a sweat. Well, Spider-Man, do you also crave the taste of my might? I said that to a girl in college once. Hey, Paula, do you crave the taste of my might?
And then you got out of jail the next morning.
3 weeks later, I found myself hitchhiking through Santa Fe. And I loved it. This I actually like. This isn't like a hoax. This isn't Spider-Man doing a scheme. He legit panics. And I thought that was just such like a realistic thing. He goes, Peter, old boy, you really stepped up to your neck this time. You're facing a monster who just creamed the Avengers, Ben Grimm, Captain Marvel, and now plans to blow out the sun. Face it, Parker. This is way out of your league. You were put together to fight cheap hoods and costume crazies. There's nothing in the Spider-Man manual about fighting star-bursting demigods. I don't belong here.
I love that line, I don't belong here. It's kind of scary when you think about it. He's just a kid.
Yeah. And I love the Thanos goes, what are you doing? Because I'm leaving. This is the Avengers hassle. They know how to get out of these situations, don't they? They'll say they won't they? After that costume club, he actually stunned Thanos.
That's so funny. I mean, it's not what you would expect at all. Like, it's just funny.
To me, that humanizes him. He's panicking.
It is really.
He's legit panicking. Yeah, but he does belong there. Yes, because the abstract beings summoned him here, like the powers that control the universe, like fate, kismet, karma, whatever. But he don't know that,
I mean, he's in this alien ship in the middle of space. So who knows how far away from home? Yeah, he's kind of.
Because even if I do make it back to the Thing ship, I'll never figure out how to fly it. I can't stay here. All I'll accomplish is getting killed. But if Thanos succeeds, what good will be running back to Earth? He goes, remain or run, as long as I'm a dead spider anyway. So he's just fighting the aliens. Mm-hmm. Thanos would make me. So he's just fighting because he doesn't know what else to do. He's just taking out these. He goes.
I mean, what would you do? He's right. There's nothing. I mean, he's stuck.
I have to do some heavy thinking along those lines later, if there is a later. So he's just like running to find a place to hide and think. He needs to calm down. I don't know. Some people will say that makes him less of a hero. To me, it makes him maybe less of a hero, but more of a human. And that's
but no, I like that. He's flawed. He's like, but then he'll figure it out. That's what Spidey does.
Muscles and guns again. Just
get your muscles and guns. Get them ready.
Guns. And I love this. For a moment there, Master Order, I feared the youth spirit has going to fail us. His instinct for self-preservation nearly kept him from his chosen fate. I had foreseen this possibility, Lord Chaos. This is like that Star Trek episode, the Game Masters of Triskelion. 400 quatloons, 6,000 quatloons. It's like beings that does not, they're just toying with everybody. Mm-hmm. So here's Spider-Man. He got his moment of weakness. He figured out what he has to do, and I love this. This is excellent.
Yeah.
So Thanos is just like, Spider-Man, bah. To think I almost placed him alongside you, my vanquished yet respected foe. Such cowardice does not deserve preservation. Darn, I hope Thanos would have been gone by now. No such luck. Because now I don't dare try to foul up with my webbing. Whatever I do must be fast and efficient. No second chance. So what does he do? He just jumps into the machine that's keeping the Avengers in suspended animation.
It's not exactly a very elegant way to do it because it even knocks him out.
Right.
But it worked.
You know what I mean? Because this is an Avengers story. You know, they inserted Ben Grimm in the thing in this just to make it a Marvel 2-in-1. So, you know, and I love this. They're all just waking up. No, this can't be happening. The Avengers, you know what? Thanos, you told them. You told them that this machine was keeping them all in suspended animation when you were, you know, given. And, you know, in fourth grade, I stubbed my toe and my teacher laughed at me when I wet my pants. You know, you just tell them everything. And then, like you said, there's Peter Parker. I keep calling him Peter Parker, but he's knocked out. And here come the Avengers.
This one's from Warlock.
And if that's not bad enough, we got Ben Grimm just popping up over here.
Yeah,
we're going to see some rat packing. Yeah, that's my favorite part of Spider-Man, figuring things out. Yes, he panicked.
Yeah.
He got his second wind, and he realized his place. He can't take out Thanos, but Thor, Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Moondragon, these guys are more powerful than him. They could do it. So he sacrificed himself. Right?
Yeah.
It's heroes, something non-CG comics don't have. It's mostly personality that makes me like, yes. When I was talking about the Patriarch on another channel, somebody jumped in and said, I'm making a comic book, and they're going to be the most powerful superhero in the world. They could beat the Patriarch. They could beat, you know, Cyberfrog. They could beat whatever, Nexus. And I was just like, that doesn't make it interesting. You know?
Yeah, where's the drama?
You know, I purposely made I pulled down the Patriarch's powers because that's more interesting. You know, I could have been a kid. When I was a kid, I made the most powerful superhero in the world. I was like, hey, you can beat the Hulk with one punch. You know, but who cares? That's not fun.
See, my guys were the guys I always loved when I was starting to read comics were like the Punisher or Iron Man or you know, they were just normal people in extraordinary situations. So they could be killed at any moment.
One of the characters that never really changed was the original Captain Marvel, Shazam, because he spent most of his time as a 14-year-old boy. You know, how weak was that? You know, sneak up on him, you could take him out. Right. I had to change it to invent kryptonite. You know, because let's face it, too powerful works for a villain. Like if Thanos was weak, he wouldn't be a good villain. If Galactus was weak, he wouldn't be a good villain. Doctor Doom. A superhero needs to be flawed and have weaknesses. So I love this.
Well, what's cool about Thanos is that he's not only he can kill you with a thought, apparently, as he did, you know, almost a Warlock earlier, but he's super strong and he's smart. Like he's always one step ahead of you. Right.
He's the total package.
Yeah.
Beth is really missing out.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
What does she think she's going to get better than Thanos?
Of course, he always fails, so I guess that's, you know.
Yeah, that's true. I like this comment. How to defeat Ben Grimm? Give him a roast beef sandwich. He'll fall asleep within the hour. That'll defeat me. A little leftover in the beard for snacks. I love this. They're just taking him out.
They're dogpiling him. Yeah. I mean, again, this is like that scene. It's in the movie kind of where they're all piling on him. This very thing where but that's what the Infinity Gauntlet. They're trying to get the gauntlet away from him, but it's the same kind of scenario where they're all grabbing onto him. Thor's smacking him.
Yep.
Such a great double.
Purple puss. Remember me? It's the bashful blue-eyed thing coming for a piece of your tail. As has Thor, God of Thunder. You know, and then look at this panel. This splash.
Yeah.
I you know, it's just awesome. We got this winged guy. Captain Marvel's just flying by. There's like this smoke pillar.
This is great writing right here. The chamber rocks with the sound of battle. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, right now the guitar solo is just going.
Yeah. Man.
As machinery, bones, and consciousness fall victim to the wild melee which springs to life of its own. I love that. Machinery, bones, and consciousness. Nothing is escaping this. In the very eye of the storm of bodies, the Asgardian deity and the Fantastic Four's strongest member struggle to keep the villainous descendant of Olympus from turning. Oh, so they are tying him into Olympus. The surrounding chaos into an organized and effective killing force directed at Earth's defenders. Look at that. So the thing is just holding him back. He's keeping this like charged hand away, and Thor is just bashing him. Look at Thor. Thor's face is just like, oof, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And here we got just
the rest of the team holding up.
You know, we got Hank McCoy beating up guys over here. Captain America's just smashing people in the face. Iron Man. I love this. Somebody's boot just beat somebody to their boot comes flying off.
That's a nice touch.
Moondragon again. She's not using her psychic power. She's just beating people with her martial art. This a Vision. I've always loved that.
Yeah, that's a great shot. He's hitting a snake with a hat.
Yeah, snake with a hat. You know, you ever see a snake with a hat? Just use your deadly laser vision. And then I love this. This just like he's so overcharged now. His hands are just like streaking with like cosmic energy.
Yeah.
Boom. Kapatam.
Surrender, villain. Thy cause is lost.
Yeah.
Great drama.
I know. Yeah, it is. And one thing, and the thing, Idol of Millets together, we spell trouble.
Yeah.
And then I love this. Thanos just blasted with eye blasts. Boom.
Almost every one of these panels I'd love to blow up into a poster, you know.
I love this. It just shows you the difference between Thor and the Thing. The Thing is taken out, but Thanos has to hit Thor one more time. You know, Thor is just that powerful.
Yeah.
You know? And then when Spider-Man is starting to recover, you know, Thanos is just like, I've a bundle of scrambled eggs for a head, and I'll do no help in the fisticuff. But for some unexplainable reason, I felt this feeling. Everything depends on what I do next. You know, so now we cut back to these cosmic beings, you know, and Adam Warlock, what's going on in my head? Because I'm being pulled back from the gem, being called back to reality. You know, this is like literally God from the machine now. This is Deus Ex Machina going on right here. Lord, you know, the final layer is primed. Now only remains the intermediary, Spider-Man, to facilitate his release. So now Spider-Man, he just feels like destiny. He just runs and he grabs this soul gem. And then we go to shocking severed finger keychain, a switchblade comb, draw chicks. Kelsey, is this how you...
Oh, I was so into what was going on with Spider-Man. I didn't even know what was going on.
Is this how you started over here? You got this, you lure over girls in their bathing suit?
I had one of the switchblade combs. I thought I was so cool.
I remember these as a kid. This was like a solid, almost like solid gunpowder, and you lit it on fire, and this thing went way up in the air, and then like exploded, and like a capsule came down with parachutes. It was great.
You can get a real severed finger.
Yeah. 25 seahorses
on a keychain. Okay.
Yep. You want a law enforcement badge? You want to get busted for impersonating a police officer?
Well, there's another way to get chicks. Poems. You can order some poems.
Yeah, get some poems. Become a locksmith. If they lock you out,
just get it.
you just deal with it.
Yeah, oh my God.
So here we got, you know, Spider-Man.
Oh, wow.
And you can see he's doing these Ditko poses. You know, that the way that the fist is definitely the way his fingers are spread out. This is all.
Look at this bottom panel, man. This is an example of how the color. It might look okay on mine, but it just.
Oh yeah, I'll bring yours up. Let's take a look at yours.
Just kind of like how separate it all looks, and it doesn't have. It doesn't really. Yeah, it doesn't really have the same kind of effect. But then when you look at that, I don't know, the way it all bleeds together like that. I don't know, man. It just looks really good on this paper.
So what he does is he's getting his Spider-Man is like barely defending himself. You know, he's just making his. And what does he do? He knocks the soul gem off of this like pillar.
Yeah.
I did it. And then just gets like succumbed. And then Adam Warlock that jars him to be able to like release his soul.
It looks like he has like a really huge wang there.
I
That's
know.
like he's showing up like, yeah, I'm about to take you
You think
down.
you got a big dick there, Thanos? Check this out. I got a cosmically endued soul gem infinity stone. You know? And Thanos is just like, no wonder Death likes you. You know, I got this little pud that this cod piece contains, you know. And then
It's such I mean, Deus Ex Machina or not, I mean, it's badass because of like everybody's involved, you know, and then him just kind of like at the last minute knocks over the soul gem.
And I love this threat. What you did, vile serpent, yet I could not rest while you remained a threat to my universe. He's claiming the universe here. Stay back. You can't stop me. Not now. And boom. He transforms into stone.
Yeah. Turns into stone.
Yep. And what does Marcus say? Ironically, the comics industry could wait to get better paper and color. Yeah. Could they go back? I don't know. Is it
No, they don't actually make that paper anymore.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I looked into it. It's they still have it, but it's really expensive because they don't.
I know. Ironically, the cheap newsprint is now the expensive paper.
Well, it's because they don't make newspapers on the same paper anymore either. The newspaper that they make now is kind of like what is it? Samedi's his books are kind of like it's almost like that it's newsprint, but different a little bit. Like this is like this kind of like old school newsprint doesn't even exist really.
Yeah.
And it was made super cheap. Yeah.
And they said that they hated the paper at the time. Yeah. I could imagine that. Yeah. Now they probably.
You know what it's like? It's like in film, there's this whole debate over film versus digital, you know, and there's people that are holding to the old digital or the old analog way of doing things. But I'm much more progressive in the film stuff. I'm like, yeah, I like the digital. You can, you know, when it looks right. David Fincher makes it look great. You know, so I know you could do it right, but that argument holds to this stuff as well, where it's like, okay, I can
CDs, you know, people, will sound better.
It does. It really does. So I could kind of see the argument for even this, you know, cheap paper somehow brought some magic to all this. It really makes it breathe.
And like I said, you could see the imperfections, you could see the flaws. Who called? Good joke.
Well, I would say that
artifacts. You know, you could see the artifacts.
But I mean, you could see it through the black because the black's not black, very black on newsprint. But I can see that this. I would say that this actually hides it better because, like the cuts between like red, yellow, and then white, you could see the film cuts so much more clearly on this because it's so bright. And everything just looks neon, but in that it bleeds together and almost looks like it's faded, you know.
Right. I always say that this looks natural, and those reprints just look artificial. I can't think of a Maybe this is analog and that's digital. So digital is just sharp contrast rather than a nice.
Well, sometimes I like looking at the Kirby stuff because the way they colored his artwork is so, you know, sharp and angular. It sometimes looks good with that modern printing and modern color, but this is the way he draws is so organic, you know, and I don't know, it just looks so good on your copy. I'm jealous. I gotta go buy the originals. They're probably a fortune now, right?
After we made it popular.
Yeah. All right, so let's wrap it up here. Where are we at?
Thanos is turned to stone, and all the aliens immediately surrender.
Well, I mean,
we don't want to do this. You know, we don't give a crap about your planet. We got, you know.
Yeah, we just didn't want to be vaporized. That's all.
And I love this. So Spider-Man goes, now that they're beaten and disarmed, what do we do with them? Release them. What? You got to be kidding. What would you suggest doing? Imprison them on Earth? Think of all the problems that would cause. Yeah, you're right. You know, so they just tell them to leave. Just get out of here. And here we got 3 graves on this asteroid. You know, remember it's Gamora, Pip, and Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
And then Captain Marvel gives a eulogy. And what do? They leave the Soul Gem, one of the Infinity Stones, just right there. Here lies Adam Warlock, Godslayer, savior of two worlds and tormented soul. May he now be at peace. 1967, 1977. You know, and, as I knock into the camera. And then
yeah, so wild, man.
And then we got a
little epilogue here.
Ben and Spider-Man just talking, you know, about like, how did we get involved in all this, you know? And then a shot of them happy in paradise. You know, like now he can enjoy being with Pip and Gamora because it's over.
This little connection here between the Spider-Man. He's like, you know, I didn't know Warlock, but I feel like we've lost something we may never see again. And Grimm is like, I'd rather think of that, whatever it was that ended here tonight sort of started a new and better beginning somewhere else, you know?
Yeah. Let's see if this flying hotel has a pot of coffee brewing anyway.
Bring it back down to earth.
Yeah. And speaking of like all the annuals, this is the Fantastic Four annual, number 12. Just, you know, the Inhumans.
Good one.
Space. Oh, we're so good. So good. And it's great because they go in as they're fighting, they crash into the Gong Show as it's being filmed. So it's got Chuck Barris and Jamie Farr and Artie Johnson, you know, meeting the Fantastic Four.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And yep. Here we go.
See, this is the big difference there too, because the end of mine has pencils and unreleased stuff from Jim Starlins.
Oh, see, there you go. Yeah, I'm gonna bring you make it big.
Yeah, it totally like makes having this. I mean, look how well that's just pencils. It's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see that, you're kind of like every inker really screwed up the whole thing, because like that, it would have been like a whole different thing just from his pencils. Are so lush.
Now I got to ask you, and if you don't want to name names, you know, have you ever had an inker that you think just messed up your art?
Well, I've loved every one of the people that have inked my stuff, and then on the other hand, I think they all messed it up. So it's a really weird experience to have someone else. So it's like, yeah, it's a love-hate thing where it's like, well, you kind of made that eye a little different. You know, I added this little edge on it that nobody would ever realize that little extra thickness to that line made all the difference in the world of the expression the character was having. And sometimes it's really subtle like that. And an inker, if they're not thinking the same thing, or if they're, you know, they can really mess that up. And then on the flip side of that, you don't want someone to just straight up trace you. You know, you want them to bring it to life. Inking is such a special thing, you know, and I really, you know, I wish everybody would appreciate inkers a lot more. I mean, it's the craft that it takes. To like letterers too, man, and colorists of these old days. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah,
the work that goes into this. I mean, it's like any movie where, you know, everybody gives credit to the director and the actors and stuff, but man, there are just thousands of craftsmen that are working on these things.
Is there any inker that you haven't worked with that you would just love to work with?
Oh, these days, I don't know, man. My stuff is so specific to me now. I couldn't imagine, but I would always love to have guys like, well, even Art Bear, Carl Story. I wouldn't even mind seeing guys like Aaron Lopresti, who's a fabulous inker. Gary Martin, you know, two guys I know. I think they would all do an amazing job. And it would be so interesting to see. But it would also be strange. It would be like this new thing, because I'm not used to being inked by other people. So it's almost like when you know, I'm trying to think of an analogy for it, where you're making food in someone else's house, you know, and you're trying to it's a little awkward.
Yeah.
You know. But I would still love the experience of it, man. I all these guys have been, I would admired them so much. You know, Mark Farmer, I love. He's probably my all-time favorite.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about?
I don't know. I'm pretty exhausted. That was an exhausting couple of issues, but so fun, man.
So what did you got? We got 33 people watch. What have any of you never seen this before? Is this new to you guys? You know, what do you think? And I did a poll. We're gonna do Marvel Secret Wars next. Kelsey hasn't read it yet, so you know, obviously we'll give him time to read it. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to
next Friday or anything like that. You know?
Yeah, we might have to take a little break because I'm actually got a lot of stuff I'm having to read right now, and but I'm gonna get on it. I'm gonna get on it because
Secret Wars.
I feel like I learned so much from this book. You know, because I mean my favorite comics, you know, are like Batman Year One. So this is like a new kind of thing, you know, space adventure, high drama, magic, and just crazy aliens, and that build up to that moment where we see him meet himself again just blows my mind so much.
That's so. Did you agree with me that it had one of the best? Because that ending I was talking about, one of the best endings in comic book history, if you ask me.
Well, then he shows up as this energy force. I mean, it's already kind of over at this point, but that's such a great moment, and how it mixes in with Spider-Man and all that. But that beat, it still floors me. So well done.
Such a good comic, yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Good suggestion. All right. Well, we're gonna have to do next was I was telling him I don't know how Secret Wars is gonna hold up to this. This is a hard one to top. But we'll see.
I was rooting for Micronauts next. The first 12 issues of Michael Golden's Bill Mantlo's Micronauts is just.
We'll have to try that one too, because I love that kind of stuff, and I'm one of the biggest Michael Golden fans. I mean, who isn't? But
and it's him at top of his game, if you ask me. And I think
it was like his first big work, anyway.
It was so good. I mean, and nobody had any high hopes for a toy tie. Well, Secret Wars is a toy tie-in also. Secret Wars is fun for a whole nother reason, though. You know, it's not this grand. I mean, I guess it is an epic, but it's on. The writing is just on a different, lighter level, if you ask me.
Okay, so that may be fun. Just something a little different flavor for this. But I want to see it because of Mike Zeck's art, and it has like every character, and then I think everybody shows up in that, right?
Not everybody, but the ones you care about in 19.
But what's interesting is that there's several collections that I have where Secret Wars appears in the chronology of the collection. It obviously ties into everything else.
Every Marvel comic referenced it to a certain extent. Yeah, that was like one of the things that had to touch it. So there was 1 month where it was in every comic. To me, Secret Wars is like what a little kid would play with their toys.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's
I'm 12 years old and I'm playing with my toys. I pretty much wrote the plot to Secret Wars. I'll leave it at that because
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
All right, pal. Well, this was fun.
Yeah, this was fun. There's so much art history. College is. Yeah, I've said that before. That I Mr. Yanfu. Good to see you. I've never seen that name before. Good to see you.
Yeah, Mr. Yanfui.
John Beatty had a breakdown. Oh, I didn't know that. John Beatty.
Oh, he did? Oh, man. Yeah, Beatty's such a good guy. I love Beatty. But I never knew that. I'd love to talk to him about that stuff.
Yeah, I say this. Comic book art to me is one of the great American art forms, you know. And it's regarded as trash and whatever. And now it's dying, you know.
But you know what? We had this weird thing that happened where it became totally universal. And there was shows about fake geek people. What was that stupid ass sitcom?
The Big Bang Theory.
Oh God, I hate that thing. So it became a monster of. So I prefer it to be trash, and that only a handful of us really get it, and eventually it'll have its up again.
We'll move on to something else. All tourists will leave. I saw a meme that said or a poll rather, were comics better when they were unpopular? And
yes,
like 90% people said yes.
Yes.
Because only people who loved it were in it.
Yeah. And I feel like we're in that point now, where we gotta stick together, gang, because it's just us.
Gotta weather the storm.
Yeah, we're gonna have those little conventions like they used to. This is why I'm like a proponent for bringing back, like I know some people do it as a novelty, but zines where you can post ads for your comic that people can send out for. Like, go back to the old ways of doing things just for the novelty of it. And to kind of, stay in touch outside of that. Remember when we used to do pen pals and things like that? I mean,
people used to write, they used to put their addresses in the letters pages, sometimes your address withheld on request. But
Cat to just talk to. That was the internet before the internet,
Cat Ironwood met her husband through the letters pages.
Wow. See?
And Wendy Peeney met Richard Peeney through the letters pages. That there was like a lot of stories that people met. I think Dave Sim met his wife through comic letters.
Oh wow.
And other people, like I'm looking for an artist, they started communicating with each other, and later on that turned to message boards. But originally there was like, again, I keep talking about the letters pages in the Marvel 2-in-1 when they were talking about like race relations and why does Goliath have to be Black Goliath? How come he's not the Green Hulk or the Orange? And that lasted like 9 months in the letters pages. It was a fascinating discussion. I loved it. I don't know.
So wild. Now that's all happening on Twitter while everybody's cussing at each other.
Right. I mean, if you're interested in my comic, Heroic Tales, I have heroicmails@yahoo.com. First issue, the topic is fathers and everything like that. If you want to write a letter, have a letter published in a comic book. I got one so far.
The same person's asking, do you have any independent comics from someone selling Xerox copies but never quite made it? He has a huge collection of them. I have a few, actually. I
have a few. When I first started doing showcases, somebody sent me a whole bunch, and I can't remember who it was.
Well, when you go to conventions a lot, you get masses of this stuff, and from people you meet. We all just traded our stuff. I mean, I ended up trading people for books more than I ever sold them at conventions. So, and I never throw them away. So I have just tons.
I can't throw away anything comic book related.
No,
I have like preview magazines and.
Yeah, I got promotional posters from stuff from like back in the 90s.
I'm so mad. Do you remember Comic Buyer's Guide, that newspaper? I had subscriptions to that for years and stacks and stacks and stacks. And one year the oil went through the roof, and to heat the house was expensive for my father.
Oh.
My father installed a stove to heat the house. And every day he would throw newspapers in it. And then he saw that I literally on top of my dresser, years worth, like a hoarder. And
said, no,
it's not comics. I'm to put,
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
It's always the parents. Usually mom just throws them away, but dad'll burn them.
Yeah. Comic Buyer's Guide, it was a comic book newspaper, something you don't see anymore. It was legitimate. Like it folded out like a New York Times. It was fun. Yeah, I used to love that.
Well, so this is great. So this is now a book that is on my shelf that I can probably say that I've read and I thoroughly enjoy, and I can't wait to tell other people about it. So
it's
going to be put again on my shelf. I'll have to find a nice spot for it, but I want to go through all of these. I got like spirits, that I've only read like a handful of like spirit.
Those are so good too.
Batman books. I've read all of like Hellboy and like Batman Adventures and all that stuff. There is a lot of stuff I read, but there's so much things like this that I haven't. So this is going to be fun. We'll do this again.
It's funny because when I talk to people that write and draw comic books for a living, I get intimidated. I'm just like, these guys know everything.
No.
And then after hanging out with a few of them, just like, oh, these guys just know their characters.
No, I was just an art fan, really. I mean,
oh, we lost it for a second. Marcus says do Starlin characters on Greybeard. That would be fun to do all the spacefaring. Well, I think we lost Kelsey. So Kelsey's gone. So I guess that'll be a good way to end. Like, the freeze frame at the end of sitcoms back in the 70s. So I'll say goodbye. We'll do a raid. Right now, Graham Nolan is live. So if you go to Graham Nolan, he's got the Frankenstein. He's got 60 people watching. We got 30 people watching. Let's all go over to Graham Nolan's channel and just say hello from John and Kelsey from Two Beards. And we'll see you.
I could draw when I was a kid. I thought, and then
you were completely silent for a long time. Kelsey, can you hear me? Oh, well. All right. We'll just end it here. But go over to Graham's channel. And from Kelsey and myself, thank you. This was the epic conclusion of Two Beards, One Comic, Jim Starlins Warlock. We don't have a date yet for Marvel Secret Wars, but as soon as Kelsey finishes reading it, you better believe I'll do it. I can't wait. Thanks a lot, everybody, and bye-bye.